It's cool. Feast your eyes on the prize, living in city lights. You're out in front of the race, but you can't cross that finish line. Woven through the noise, the dial never sways. If your life is beating you, you have got to change your game. Roll on through the mountains and kiss the golden sky. Ride into the sunset, find your peace of mind. It's cool. It's a broken record love song when you don't know where to start. If you're searching for a sign, take a listen to your heart. Roll on through the mountains and kiss the golden sky. Ride into the sunset, find your peace of mind. It's cool. Cooler in the canyon. It's cool. Cooler in the canyon. Roll on through the mountains and kiss the golden sky. Ride into the sunset, find your peace of mind. It's cool. Cooler in the canyon. It's cool. Cooler in the canyon. Feast your eyes on the prize, living in city lights. You're out in front of the race, but you can't cross that finish line. Woven through the noise, the dial never sways. If your life is beating you, you have got to change your game. Roll on through the mountains and kiss the golden sky. Ride into the sunset, find your peace of mind. It's cool. Cooler in the canyon. It's cool. Cooler in the canyon. It's a broken record love song when you don't know where.
Hey, what's up everybody? How we all doing? It's your boy Ghost here. It's comms day, Saturday. We're gonna take the mug out. Forgot to take the mug out of screen. There we go. So, here we are. As you guys can see on the starting soon screen, we're here for round 2 of our MX5 miatas. And multi-tier series this one. So we got drivers running in a pro division and an amateur division. So there's actually 2 divisions running in the same race on the track at the same time. So it's a little bit interesting. Looks like we got a big fat grid here today too. So it should really be pretty exciting, you would think. We're just going to jump on track with somebody. They might not be. Yeah, they're not running. So the lobby's official here at this point. So we're just going to set our settings. Boop. Boop. Alright. and we're going to hang out here and wait for qualifying. We are joined today as well here by a co-host who we'll bring in here shortly. We just want to shout out Eduardo and Jake Batty coming in with the heart and the like on the stream. Much love. Really do appreciate the support. And we're here for an hour-long endurance here today, so it should be quite interesting. So we're going to have 6 podium finishers here today. We're going to have 6 podium interviews at the end of the broadcast as well. So that's fun. And we're going to go take a look at the event settings, actually, because off the top of my head, I actually can't remember what the tire wear is. So again, it's a 1 hour endurance race. We got 3 times tire and 5 times fuel. Soft tires are the only tires permitted here in this particular series. Yeah, other than that, everything's pretty basic. No damage on here for these guys. They like to allow these guys to run full out. So that's about how it goes here. So they're just sorting out the grid. We got some random guys jumping into the lobby. That happens sometimes. But yeah, so that's about it. We're here at Catalunya, no chicane, and yeah, should be a fun race with these miatas around here. So we're gonna bring in Boo here now. So welcome in, Boo. We got Boo Fushidara here with us today. Now, for those of you that follow the series here on the page and on the GTRC YouTube, he is last season's major championship winner, and he's looking pretty strong here in this year's championship as well. He's starting to make up some ground. So tough competition in the division this year, but he is still showing some dominance out of the track. So welcome in, man, and it's always great to have you.
Pleasure to be here. It seems like a very long time since we last did this. GT4 season finale, I believe.
I believe you're correct, actually, yes. We got Magic Man on the track here. I was waiting for somebody to jump out. So Magic Man lives in a fairly remote area of where he's from, and his connectivity is not quite the best here, folks. So we're going to see a little bit of lag coming from Magic Man. So the drivers are aware of what's going on. We've been working with him diligently to try and make everything better for him, but I think this is about the best it's going to get for him here today. So drivers will just have to use caution, of course, when around, and he's going to have to use caution when around other drivers. It's a give-take relationship, and it is what it is. You know, guys got to race. It's good for their mental health and just to be around with their friends, and so sometimes we just gotta make it work. So that's what we're going to do here today, and hopefully he has a good race here for himself today. So you were on track with the guys a little bit earlier. Who's looking really good, really strong in the cars here today, Boo?
So Doug Burrow, as always, he's a fierce competitor. Doesn't matter what he's in, what championship. He's looking really, really strong today. And actually, my co-namer, can we call him that? My compatriot in gamertag in Bo, he was really quick last time out. Hair Razor, of course, he's always in the mix.
As we're sitting on Hair Razor right now, actually just watching him turn some laps. Your car's looking great as always. Big props to Doug Burrow, as we were talking about him there just a second ago. He did a lot of the liveries for the Miata series here. This series, they look really, really fantastic out on track.
Yeah, definitely. That cost delivery that he's done there. It's I haven't told him this, so he'll be seeing it later in the replays when he watches this back. But that does look fantastic. Also, I wouldn't tell him to his face.
And now the funny thing is, Chad, for those of you that hang out with Doug, he likes to talk some trash, boy, in those chats. So Doug likes to play the mind games here before the races too, a little bit. So it's quite entertaining, actually, but not exactly commentary friendly necessarily. So. But you need guys like that. You need guys like that within the group, especially within the administration staff of these leagues. You know, he's a very light-hearted gentleman. He's very sociable. He's always trying to make people laugh, and that's a good thing. You know, we need people like that in the world. Somebody could be having a really bad day, and he comes in with his smart little remarks and his little comments, and you sit there and start giggling to yourself, and all of a sudden you start to feel a little bit better. So, you know, he's also an important part of everything that goes on here as well. Even though it seems like he's just picking on everybody, really, he's just trying to get a smile on their face.
I mean, that's what we're all trying to do in the community. If somebody's down, we try and pick them up. So, and that goes out to anybody watching. By all means, come in. We are a friendly lot, and we're guys. You've been doing a massive bit of work with us to try and expand. But the more people we come in, we'll try and accommodate people into their abilities and just watch people grow and try and develop them further.
And that's really a plus thing too. I really love this multi series. Do two classes on the track at the same time. Both classes running for their own podiums during the race, and of course then you have the overall race of both divisions on the track as well. So this is a really exciting series in my opinion. Of course, picking the Miatas, who doesn't love the Miatas? I mean, honestly, these things are so awesome to drive around the racetrack. They're a little bit different to drive on 7 than you would expect compared to Sport. However, they are very MR-esque in their driving style. You kind of need a loose rear end in these cars to really get them to go around, but you don't want to swing it too much at the same time because there is tire wear in these series. You don't want to really burn up those rear tires sliding your rear end around, but it does help with rotation sometimes, and it really happens under braking in these cars, and that is why I say you need to drive them like an MR, because it's a lot more engine braking and throttle control in these cars than really it is braking. If you are going to brake, it needs to be in a dead straight line.
And you're absolutely right. The one thing I noticed with these cars, so I'm here as a reserve, but if I can, I won't race in these cars. And that's 2 reasons for that from my side, is that I don't like mixing championships up. I like racing one car at a time. But what you're saying there is these cars, they do like being thrashed. So if you've got an aggressive driving style, it does reward you. But it's high risk, high reward. And like you said, you need to get them rotated early, get the momentum through the corner, but that does eat up tyre wear. So it'll be interesting to see how the fast drivers cope with this going forward and throughout the race.
I mean, we're sitting on Magic Man right now. He's not turning terrible laps here. I mean, 152, high 152s, low 153s, and he's fairly new to league racing, I believe. So that's only a couple seconds off really to the fast times we're seeing on the racetrack for the most part. So he's doing really good out there. So we'll see how it goes for him today.
Well, hopefully we've got a mixed top 3 finish, even if it's between. If we see some of the tier 2 drivers mix up with the tier 1s, that'll be fantastic to see.
Well, there's definitely tier 2 drivers in tier 2 that have the ability to mix it up with these pro drivers here in tier 1 as well. There's lots of names in there that are more than capable if they get a favorable track, one that they're really comfortable with, to really mix it up for these pro drivers too as well. Last 2 weeks ago, we saw the pro drivers kind of really dominate in the front of the field. And then we've seen the amateurs not too far behind the pro drivers, but kind of in their own little group. So let's see if these guys can mix it up for these pro drivers a little bit here today too, and put some pressure on these guys, make it interesting.
Absolutely. One thing surprising to see is Bar actually in the AM category, because he's normally one of the fast guys that you see in the GT3 series that we're running. So, but it's all the game. It's something we spoke about in the admin channels, mixing it up, creating 2 tiers to give everybody, like you said, a chance to battle for a podium spot, so they're not just walking away disheartened. And hopefully that develops people.
Well, and the one thing I find is that when you have learning drivers or new drivers or drivers that are just beginning their league racing, their endurance racing careers, they feel a lot of pressure trying to keep up to the guys that are always in the top end of the grid. The drivers that have a lot more experience, the drivers that are used to cars, the physics of the game, the racetracks, the tendencies, all these things. And I find that's a lot of pressure on the drivers that are just learning and just getting into league racing. So having these multi-tier divisions, I feel, is actually better for them, because they're at a pace that's more manageable for them to find consistency at than trying to just go straight to the top right away. It takes baby steps in sim racing. You have to find a pace, and then once you find that pace, you have to be consistent at that pace. And then until you get those 2 things working in your favor, that's kind of your wall, so to speak. We sim racers, we call it, we hit a wall. And then that's when we start to look for more pace, and then you start to find that more pace, and then you have to start the process all over again. So to learn to go faster, essentially you're actually going slower sometimes. So the multi-tier division series is really good for that in a sense too. It keeps the newer drivers a lot more interested, and I think that they pick up a lot more because the racing is a little bit closer for them.
Yeah, and we also take the pressure off them as well, and some of the how do I say? I don't want to sound talking down to people at all, but it's something I was aware of as I'm going past another for example, or lone ghost, and it never feels good to be lapping your mates. So one thing we thought about was, what, if we create a 2-tier lobby, you are racing against each other, and they don't have the pressure of a fast driver coming back up around them again, and you remove that demotivating factor, if you like.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I see it over, you know, and stuff that we do through my page here as well. You know, the stuff that happens over at GT45 Gaming in our events and our series that we run there. I see much of the same thing. I do see drivers by the end of the season feel deflated because some of these guys are just so quick, and they can't find that pace, and it's just because the gap is too big. You can't breach a gap like that. You have to do it in baby steps. You got to pick away at that pace a couple tenths of a second at a time. And the next thing you know, you're rubbing doors with those guys, and it's the greatest. That's the greatest feeling in the world because you know you worked hard to achieve it.
Oh yeah, 100%. And one thing that people probably don't know is when I started racing with Doug Hare and Steve, I was actually slower than them when I first started out, and we were in a league that had 2 tiers, and you just start racing with people around you, you catch up to them, and then you move on to the next target. It's exactly what you said, which is you hit your wall. And then you try to look for that next bit, and you're just constantly working on yourself, and you're just reaching ever a great heights. But that only ever happens if you've got somebody around you to help push you along.
Well, we definitely know that we've seen some new competition step into the series for you this season. We know you're a very strong, consistent driver, and that's where your success does come from in your endurance racing is exactly that. So you're the understanding of the track, the car, how to get it around that racetrack, and how to do it with very similar times, lap in and lap out. But we are starting to see some competition coming in for you. We're starting to see guys like the TPC Pigums come in. You know, he's new to this series, very quick driver. You know, it's just a moment of time before he really starts to dial it into the series and the settings. And now you're going to have some great door-by-door racing. And we're seeing more drivers coming into the Discord recently as well that are quite quick. So I think we're going to see some, really start seeing some intense action, especially up for battling those podiums here as we move forward into further seasons. So you know, you guys do really good stuff here. It's fun. It's exciting. And there's definitely interest out there, without a question of a doubt.
Well, I hope so. We always want to see fresh faces coming in, and of all abilities, right? So, however much I appreciate the the challenge, it's always a challenge. Like I said, I've just been very lucky this season. But he as well. Like, he's one of the drivers that has really impressed me. I think he needs just a little bit more. I don't know how to call it, fine tuning, shall we say? And I think he'll be one to watch as well with Piggins.
Oh, I totally agree.
Again.
You know, and Doug's a pad driver too as well in the series. You know, he's not on a wheel and pedal setup, so tire management is a bit more of a struggle for the pad drivers in these series, especially with the tire model the way it is now in Gran Turismo. It actually might probably help these guys a little bit because now they actually know how bad their tires are. If that is the case, there are pad drivers out there that are exceptional at tire management, but it's a very long, hard, arduous process to learn that skill on pads. So I think Doug's one weakness is exactly that. It's just that tire management because he's on that pad. Once he figures that out, he's most certainly going to be a massive competitor.
But the one thing with Doug's driving style, which I think it really suits the MX-5s, like I said before, is he's very aggressive, and he's aggressive on his inputs. And it's not a bad thing, it's just his own driving style. I do sometimes wonder if maybe going slower would help him go faster.
Much like you appreciate that, like you sure, my guy.
It's his driving style, he enjoys it, and it makes for great racing as well.
Absolutely, and he's a good racer. I mean, even if he gets caught up in an incident, you know, he's not out of that race. You can't count the guy out. You can just never count him out.
No, never.
And I mean, we see it week in and week out here on the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen, especially for those of you that follow the series from a week-to-week basis. You know, Doug is always in the conversation at the front of these races. It's very rare we see him anywhere else. And even if we do see him somewhere else, he's always having some good battles on track. So Doug's an exciting driver to actually follow around the racetrack. There's always something going on around Doug.
100%. 100%.
The guys are starting to spread out here. We're seeing some close qualifying times. I mean, qualifying is going to be over here in a couple of minutes. I think these guys probably got about 1 or 2 more laps, and that'll be it here. But we do have Doug sitting in provisional pole, and he's got quite a surmountable lead. He's 3/4 of a second over second place driver Hairraiser here momentarily. And then Hairraiser in second has only got 1.5 tenths over Ibra, who's just going to be coming across around here behind shortly. These guys will actually stick with this group as they come back across the line and see if any of them can jump the other driver. But Doug looking strong. As Boo said earlier, he figures Doug's definitely got it for this one today, so we'll have to see. But currently looking like he's definitely got the pace here today. But again, this is endurance racing. The pace doesn't mean anything if you can't save the tires.
absolutely. And I think Doug might be in a chance of breaking into the 149s here. I saw him being 0.16 of a tenth up. There you go.
And Magic Man's sitting P9 right now currently, having a good run here actually. I love to see it, really do love to see it. Some of the drivers still struggling here, we can tell in their times, but you know, if you don't put the time in with these cars will bite you. You really do need to know how these cars are going to rotate around every specific racetrack. Every track's different. You can't expect the Miatas to do the same thing around different tracks because it's just not going to happen. Higher different speed rates, you know, all be different BOP settings as well depending on the size of the track. That changes the amount of horsepower and weight in the cars, so every race is completely different, so you do need to put a little bit of time into these cars as well. So some of the drivers that maybe haven't put the time in are going to struggle a little bit here, and then we'll see them start to lock in mid race, late race, when it starts to feel comfortable for them.
The one interesting thing with the Miatas is they're, even though they're on racing tyres, they slide around so much, and the amount of roll that you get through the chassis, it really is, it takes you by surprise. So whilst they are racing cars, they handle more like a road car. Which sounds...
I think Gran Turismo 7's done a really good job mocking the Miatas compared to the IMSA series here in North America. I mean, when you compare how these cars drive in GT7 and you go watch MX5 series race on IMSA on YouTube, you see the exact same tendencies. You see these guys pushing the rear end out a little bit to get that early rotation, and you can see the exit speed that they gain from that. Even in real life, these cars, GT7 has actually done a really good job at modeling the Miatas compared to real life, in my opinion. Just my opinion.
I would have to agree, especially it's a massive step up from GT Sport.
Oh,
it's a completely different game, but everything they've done so far is great. Even with the latest updates, like every time we see an update, they just improve on something. And whilst Doug hates it for the GT3 series because they keep seeming to be nerfing his car, I've got nothing but praise for the guy because it just feels better and better in the Porsche.
Oh, the Porsche's a beast right now, you know, I'm not gonna lie. I was a big fan of the Porsche GT Sport. It took me a little while to adjust to the car here in GT7, but ever since the last physics update, I've really dialed into the game. It feels really good now. So, yeah, they are definitely moving in the right direction. I think the tire model is fantastic, and I think the damage model even is really, really fantastic. I really do think that the damage model is in the right direction. I think that they just need to dial the sensitivity on it down just a little bit.
Well, hopefully that'll come along, but I'm just looking at the top 5. There seems to be a nice sort of...
Yeah.
They are grouping.
And Hairzer's really nipping away at Doug right now. You know, gaining a little bit of slipstream advantage there potentially for a little bit there too as well, but only 3/100ths of a second off pole right here. So this might be the last lap for these guys as well. So let's see if Hairzers can steal that from Doug and deflate that heart of his a little bit. It's not going to stop Doug though. It'll just motivate him even more.
What's interesting is getting that mental edge over your competitor when you're in qualifying.
Yeah, sometimes. And I mean, Doug is, he likes to lead. He likes to control the pace of the race. You know, me and Doug have talked about this in the past, and he really does feel most comfortable leading a race. So that's why we see Doug always pushing for that pole as soon as he can at the race to start, because he wants to control the pace. That's where he feels comfortable. He likes the pressure of the other drivers on him. Some drivers don't like that. You know, I'm a style of driver, I'd much rather be in the chase than actually having somebody chase me down, because now I'm thinking about that. That's something else I've got in my mind. But if I'm the chase car, all I'm doing is just hit my marks. Let's get back to that car. All I need to do is get in the slipstream and I've got a shot.
And it's just, guys, because I was exactly the same as you. I never liked leading. If I was going to lead, it'd be for the last 2 corners of the last lap, and quite happily be in P2, just watch the race fold on by and just attack for the last bit.
It's a good strategy, but you know, if you can get out front and get a nice little gap, and you can just manage that gap, which is obviously the ideal situation in any racing situation, is the guy who gets out in front wants to get about a 5-6 second gap. That's what we like to call a comfortable gap. That gives you room to make a mistake, a small mistake, not lose the position, and not have that guy right all over you immediately. However, if you make a big mistake, obviously you're going to lose position there with just a 5 or 6 second gap. But if you can manage a 5-6 second gap for an hour or 90 minutes or whatever the length of your race is, you're not going to burn your tires out as bad either, because you're not pushing, you're just maintaining a pace. So if you can get into that mentality when you're leading and not worry about what's going on behind you, you know, you're just kind of keeping your eye on that live timer, the radar, if need be, if they're close, make sure they're not going to make the move, just stick to your lines. And I mean, that's the best way to win from the lead, but it's a lot of added pressure. I'm much of the same. I like to lead the last maybe 10 minutes of a race, maybe even 5 minutes of a race. If I make a mistake, then I'm going to make it. I'll start to make a couple little mistakes. I'm starting to think about that mentally, right? So it's still a learning curve. Every sim racer is always learning. It doesn't matter if you're at the top of the sim racing world or you're right at the bottom of the sim racing world. If you're not learning, you're not trying anymore. All right, race time. Here we go, chat. Doug in pole, Hairraiser in second, Ibra in third, Mike in fourth, Bo in fifth, Unseen Throne in sixth, Happy Pappy in seventh. We've got Tron in eighth, Type R in ninth, Magic Man in 10th, Anto in 11th, and Monkey Mafia in P12. So let's go P6 and watch the race unfold here. Oh, we got all camera angles today. Fantastic. So we do have Doug and Hairraiser battling for the lead here. So here we go. We talked about this. We just finished talking about this. Doug is going to try and get out there as quick as possible here and then just try to pull a gap. So we got Doug in the lead. So Doug getting the job done. So Doug holding on to pole. A little bit of contact there going through turn 3. Unseen Throne spinning a little bit, but he's back on track. Nice safe entry there. Great job by Unseen Throne. Oh, and we got another driver. Both Snipes spun out in as well. So these guys got a little bit of work to do, but it's okay. Hour-long race. Drivers don't need to be panicking here right now. Honestly, Unseen Throne's in a good spot. He's a couple seconds behind that pack. That's a pretty comfortable spot to be in a race, especially at the beginning. You could just lock in right away and just pick him apart one car at a time at this point. By the time he catches the pack will have kind of sorted itself out and everybody be in their own little individual battles at this point. It's back to the lead. We are with Doug, and Hairraiser's not letting him go. Hairraiser's like, not today, buddy. I am going to be a pain in your butt literally all day long. So there we go. Hairraiser chasing. Hairraiser's a smart race car driver. We might not see Hairraiser attempt to move right away. He might just wait and see if Doug makes a mistake before he makes that opportunity. But in order for him to capitalize on a minor mistake, he needs to be right there. And this is no chicane, so we're going to come around here. Normally we come around this corner right here, and you're going to get set up to make a really hard braking right-hander going straight into a really hard left-hander going straight into a right-hander. You can see the cones on the side of the road here. These guys don't have to go through that. These guys are just going to get a nice high-speed final corner. But with that being said, it's tricky. You really got to take some inside curb here, and these cars aren't fans of the curbs, so you really got to kind of cheat the lines if you really want to get an impressive time here. Barcelona, no chicane. But good battle here up front, and again, we're just going to see Hairraiser and Doug probably work together here for a little bit.
It's a horrible place to be when you're the lead and you've got somebody so close behind you because you can't work too hard to pull away, and you just have to tow them around, just manage the gap to third place, and just hope that you guys build a gap that you don't slow yourselves down later when you're battling for position.
I mean, what Doug could do here is, maybe 10-15 more minutes into the race, if this is where these two are still sitting, Doug could go a little wide, quote unquote, let Hairraiser get around, and Doug could essentially reverse the role on Hairraiser as well. So we'll have to see how this plays out here in this first stint.
Very interesting thought. I might keep it in my back pocket for the next GT3 race.
Little strategy there for our very quickly running up the standings man, Bo Fushidara in the GT3 series. You've missed a race, I think, this season, if I'm not mistaken. Am I correct on that?
Yes, I did. I think I was on holiday, and then we had Laguna Seca, where I had the screen freeze glitch.
Right, that's correct. So yeah, a little bit of a hit on the championship here, but he's quickly running up those standings, Chad. He's going to be pushing. If he keeps at the pace he's at right now with a few, 5 weeks left in the season, 4 weeks left in the season, he has a shot at that overall podium at the top of the spot here. So we'll have to see what Boo's got for us next week. I can't wait, actually. It's going to be exciting.
But I'm just looking at the battle going on at the moment. You've almost got people in pairs right now, apart from Anto, Trone, and Simon. They're all sort of in a gaggle of like a 4-car battle going on there.
And we're gonna give Happy Pappy a little onboard for this lap here, as he's sitting in P5. Now he's a couple seconds off that lead pack, but he's also got a nice little 1 second gap on the pack behind him here. Happy Pappy's having a fantastic race start here, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get on board with Happy Pappy here as he's trying to chase down that pack in front of him. He goes, a little group of cars, Ibra and Mike. Very controlled. You can see he's very controlled here. Now Pappy's another pad driver as well, ladies and gentlemen. So Happy Pappy is on pad here for the series as well. So love to see it. Go get some, my man. Go get some. He's doing a fantastic job. His throttle control is fantastic coming into these corners. He's not. He's playing the fuel-saving mode right now in this car. This car likes to be revved out, obviously, to really maximize it. But if you do that, you're going to absolutely destroy your fuel load in this car. So you can actually see him coming out of corners on a little bit of a higher gear than you would normally anticipate, and that's just to save a little bit of fuel behind these guys as well. He's on it today. I love to see it. Absolutely love to see it. Tire squeal extremely minimal coming around that part of the corner there. He's looking real solid here, Chad. And he's also on a PB at the moment here. Let's see if he can finish it out here. We're keeping our eye on the little clusters here. We're not seeing any hard battling. Hairzor and Doug are very, very close right now.
Simon at the moment is right up at the back end of Trone. So interesting to see whether Simon wants to play the long game, get to have the long, or if he's in a rush to make up positions early on.
Ooh, Pappy getting a little bit wide there. Definitely going to lose some speed on exit there. That's unfortunate because he does have a driver who's just looking to grab that slipstream, and this is where you want that slipstream. But 152 for Pappy there, so great job. He's looking really great today, folks. That's fantastic. We love to see that. That's what this is all about right there. Happy Pappy struggles in the series, and we typically see him near the back of the pack, but he is absolutely on one today, so I am thrilled for him at the moment. We got Anto. Anto's always been a good competitor here. He's learning. He's progressing very well. We see Anto in a lot of the series that we cover here at my page, and we've been watching his development over the last few months, and he's becoming a very solid race car driver. So we always love to see Anto competing and fighting hard as well. And that livery looks fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Ooh, we almost made a mistake coming around that corner there, though. That's a tricky corner. You got to be careful when you get on the throttle there. You'll force your own car out wide, and you don't want to get into that grass. That's bad news there. You're gonna lose some positions you catch out into that grass. We got Type R here. Type R is always a good competitor. We never know where Type R is going to end up in a race. It depends on whether or not he likes the track. Maybe, I don't know. But sometimes he's just up there pushing them guys up front. And sometimes he's just in the mid-pack wreaking havoc with all the guys in the mid-pack. So he's another one of them guys that's always fun to keep an eye on because he's always battling with somebody.
I can tell you now, he's a nightmare to get past. If you ever fall behind Simon trying to get past, it's probably the hardest you've ever had to fight for a position out of anybody on the grid.
And a nice little GT45 Gaming logo on the bottom of the rear bumper there, folks, too. If you could just catch that there. That was a great shot, actually. So huge shout out to the guys. We always appreciate the extra support out there. We love seeing that on the cars. Absolutely love it. We got a car going wide there. I think that was unseen thrown. Managing to keep it out of the wall, though. The sand helping. The sand doing his job there. The sand is on the edge of these high-speed corners on these racetracks to slow the cars down so they don't smash into the walls. You come into a corner at 100 miles an hour and you got to be hard on the brakes and you lose it and you go spinning. You're spinning at 75 miles an hour. The sand dramatically takes that force and adds drag to the car, and the sand saves a lot of race cars at these racetracks on a week-to-week basis in real life. So doing much of the same here in Gran Turismo 7. Their job, they do a pretty good job at their job, actually. They slow you down pretty quickly. So. But again, you get it. Sometimes it'll pull you into the wall as well. So he did a good job to power out of there. He didn't lose a whole lot of time, about a second out of the corner there. But tough. These cars are tough. You let them get away from you, and they're like a bucking horse. They just want to kick you out, man. But Doug and Hare, I mean, these guys. I don't think these two are going to leave each other alone all race long. I think this is going to be a familiar sight throughout this race here between these two drivers. Clearly they're very close in pace based off qualifying, and it's going to come down to which driver makes the least mistakes, maybe saves most fuel. Right now Hairzor is probably in the best position to grab that P1 coming into pit lane. as of course he's not doing all the work where Doug is right now. He's just tucked in behind, and yeah, he could just let Doug pull him around the racetrack and save some fuel. You know, coming out of this corner right now, I'd be in fuel map 2. Doug's just going to pull him right along in the slipstream there. Fuel map 2 all the way down this straight. I'm going to save a quarter lap of fuel just right there alone. Oh, is he going to go for the move here? He does pull out. And it looks like Air Razor's going to go out in front here. He's got the optimal line. Doug's going to stay out wide in case there's a cutback here. He's going to go for the optimal line coming through turn 2, 3. It was a good run there by Doug, but Hair Razor also getting a good run, so Hair Razor is going to take the position from Doug here. Now, is Doug just going to be patient, stay calm, sit behind Hair Razor and save a little bit of his fuel and tires now? We'll have to wait and find out, or is Doug just going to attack? We'll have to see here. Doug's taking a little bit of a different approach than Hair Razor coming into the corners. He's going for a much wider entry to try and get a faster exit. So we'll have to see how that works out.
See, from history, from previous experience with racing with Doug, I'd be thinking he wants to get back fast right away and try and lead the race. He, like I said before, he loves leading. He doesn't like being in P2 at any point.
Well, and dirty air does factor in. I don't think it's going to factor in too terribly much for these little race cars. You know, it'll affect you a little bit. Obviously, these cars don't have a whole lot of aerodynamic ability to them because they're basically a street car with some racing modifications. The stock engines in these cars, and the suspension and the roll cage and all that, of course, is up to standards of IMSA or whatever GT7 is based it off of. So there's some performance parts in there, but I mean, engine is bone stock, stuff like that. Of course, there's a sequential transmission in there, so these guys can drive the cars at a race pace. But and stock engines and all these Miatas are all the same. A very popular series in real life, these Miatas too, especially this year specifically. We're really seeing an increase in Miata in real life, and not only IMSA but all over the world, in the GT series going on all over the world. So Miata is becoming very, very popular for a racing event, for a racing series. You're seeing a lot of upcoming race car drivers that are just new rookies coming into the business, and this is what they get thrown in. They get thrown into these Miatas. And then typically from these Miatas, they get thrown into a Porsche series or a Lamborghini series or something like that, because the Miatas kind of set you up to learn how to drive those styles of cars, and then you perfect that craft. And once you perfect that craft, I mean, the possibilities are endless for you in real life at that point. If you can perfect the Miatas, and then of course those mid-rear engine supercar series, and put out a good showing for yourself, you're really setting yourself up for a good opportunity to find sponsors, get picked up by a team, and go out and do what you absolutely love week in and week out. So these Miatas are more important to the world racing circuits than people probably realize. So we love to see them on track here in GT7. They are so much fun to drive. They really, really are. And Pappy's still doing really, really solid here in P5. You can see Anto's trying to gain here. He can't get that gap on Pappy, so pretty equally paced between our 5th and 6th driver here right now. Ooh, a little bit wide Pappy goes. Oh, that green stuff is dangerous. Both of them, Anto as well. But both drivers doing a great job there just to let it coast through, and didn't make the mistake of hitting the accelerator on that AstroTurf, because that's just a no-no. Just don't do it.
But Anto managing to ditch Simon, as you're mentioning, that little gaggle there, that's really breaking up, and Simon's falling into the clutches of Trone.
Yeah, Trone is starting to pull in here. Now Trone is he's a really consistent race car driver, actually. Week in and week out, the one thing that Trone shows is consistency. I think Trone needs to make that step now and go for that pace increase in his racing. I mean, I really do think that Trone is at that point in his sim racing career right now. You can see him getting around Anto there. Anto had a penalty, obviously, as he loses 2 positions there. Type R and Trone Kobe getting around Anto there, so Anto dropping down to P8. So Happy Pappy finding himself now with 4 seconds up there in P5. So no pressure on Pappy. Let's see what he can do with it. But yeah, Trone,
fantastic.
Again, consistent driver. You just never know. The one thing you know about Trone is he's going to run very similar lap times. So if you're at a similar pace than him, you better hope he makes a mistake, because he's another one of those drivers from what I've seen broadcasting the series for the GTRC community here. He doesn't make it easy to get around. He really, really doesn't.
And he's one of those drivers that put back in the mold that we were talking about before with Key, Tap. He's just waiting for that breakthrough. But you're absolutely right. I mean, the one thing he has got is consistency, and one of the hardest things as a race car driver is to hit consistent lap times.
And Anto getting it just a little bit wrong there. He seems to slide that car out a little sideways. A little too much braking is what that is, most likely. But getting a good run there, and we just see Trone actually getting around Type R there. So great job by Trone as he moves up into P6. Now he's on the hunt to see if he can catch Pappy up there in P5. So good job to Trone there. Type R, I'm not sure what happened there. I think he just made a mistake and he just kind of got out of the way and just kind of let Trone go around there and just not interfere with the race, so neither driver loses any time. Pretty smart decision by Type R in my opinion right there. And still managed to keep Anto in behind as well, so.
What I can currently see is this will be a, we're seeing Pappy leading the tier 2 category, so he's fighting for a P1 position with Trone and Simon close by behind, finishing off the P2 and P3.
That's a good call. I've been so wrapped up and involved with the race and these miatas over the beginning of the broadcaster, I have completely forgot to go through our pro and our AM drivers here today. So good shout out there from Bo. So there we go. So Pappy actually looking for top of a podium in his division here today, so definitely get some. Oh yeah, now we're talking. My hair is standing on the back of my neck. I'm so excited for him right now.
And he definitely deserves it. He puts in so much effort, and he's you've mentioned it before, multiple commentaries, but he's such a joy to have around and talk to. So hopefully he keeps this up, and we can see Pappy have a maiden win.
Absolutely, absolutely. Oh, I can't wait. Hopefully you can pull it out here today. So we got Doug, pro driver, obviously. And we do have the standings available to us. I just got to put them in. So I'll do that right now. And we'll actually bring those up here shortly for you guys. Alright. A couple clicks of a button and ba-bam! We got magic happening. So, I believe Doug's leading right now as well. Ooh, getting a little bit wide there, getting that a little bit wrong. He managed to keep the car on the racetrack, but look how quickly Hair Razor closed up to him there. Just that small, minute mistake, and the half-second track limit penalty. That's gotta be a little bit frustrating right there. So Hair Razor now, really, all he needs to do is just say, oh, sweet, all I gotta do is stay close here, and I'm just gonna get it for free. So, making a move here on this lap at this point, unless Doug makes a mistake and forces him to do so, may not be the best idea. But if Hair Razor can get a clean break, then he's just going to open up that much more of a gap. And we're going to see Hair Razor take it anyways. Doug's looking for the cutback. Is he going to get it? Hair Razor closes him off there. No shot at a cutback there from Doug. Hair Razor read that like a book, closed the line off. Now you can see Hair Razor's defending here. He knows that he's going to get a free gap here now if he can stay ahead of Doug. But this battle's most certainly definitely slowing the two drivers down. Doug coming around the inside here. Great move. Little switcheroo there. Ooh, Hair Razor gets a good run there. He might hold this position on the outside of this corner, and he's side by side with Doug, ladies and gentlemen. What a job. What a great job by these two drivers. And Doug, again, with the penalty, he just knows if he can get ahead of Hair Razor here, that's going to slow down the distance that Hair Razor's going to get ahead when he has to serve that penalty. And that penalty zone's coming up here pretty soon, so Doug just edging back out in front. What a battle these two are having. Great job by Hair Razor and Doug right now on track. Great battle for the lead here. And, boy, these two are going to be sweating at the end of this one. Woo, doggy. But now we're going to see Hair Razor take the lead here. You can see he's right on Doug's bumper, so perfect place to be. Penalty served. Doug's going to defend here, but Hair Razor obviously going to get around. Doug lost a fair amount of speed coming into the braking zone here now. Not the worst place for a penalty here, but you do lose a little bit of that top speed coming into the braking zone. But you can see Doug still right there on the back end of Hair Razor. So Hair Razor not getting really the ideal gap he needed out of that half-second penalty, because Doug wasn't just letting him get away. So battle back on here, and this isn't over. We're going to stick with this here for a minute, because Doug is going to try and get back around him, and that's just the way Doug is. He wants to lead. So at this point right now, though, both these drivers are using up a fair amount of fuel, and they're definitely abusing them tires a little bit, battling like this. So we'll see if the drivers do decide to settle down at some point in the race. I would suspect we want to see these guys run half this race before they have to stop as well. So I mean, we're only at 18 minutes in. These guys got a little ways to go yet on these tires if they're only planning on one stop in it. So At some point, we're going to see this battle settle down because both drivers will have no choice, or they're going to have to potentially change their potential strategies coming in. I don't know if that's the driver's strategies. Again, I just like to speculate as a commentator, and then of course see what happens as the race unfolds in front of us. So, as a broadcaster, we love the mystery and intrigue just as much as you guys, the fans out there. So, we appreciate it. It looks like it's settling down a little bit here. I think Doug's probably realized at this point maybe it's just a good idea to sit behind for a lap or two, kind of get back into that rhythm, and then maybe look for another opportunity. You can see him get a little bit wide there again. That might cost him again. It looked like he got
so a little.
It does, yeah. Track. There's another track limit penalty there for Doug. So, and of course he's just coming up to that serving zone, so he's gonna have to go all the way around before he's gonna have to serve that penalty. So hopefully he doesn't compound the problem by picking another up. But that's 2 laps in a row now. We've seen him pick up a track limit penalty, just getting a little too wide. So that's gonna tell us that the tires are starting to break down on that car a little bit. He's starting to fight the tire degradation underneath the race car.
Just a little thing, Ghost. I just was flicking through the rest of the rest of the grid, and I saw that Simon made a mistake and ended up having engine penalty as well as front bumper and suspension damage as well. So big mistake from him.
Oh yeah, so we can see Trone starting to close that gap. It was 4 seconds there from Happy Pappy. Happy actually coming into pit lane here, so you see him really struggling coming into pit lane there. So maybe he's decided that he needs to come and get that race car fixed. We may see him put on some fresh rubber here. We also got Doug and Hairraiser coming in, so we're going to see 2 stops out of the drivers, it looks like, here today, folks. So we'll see if anybody tries to do a 1-stop. There are definitely guys out there fuel saving. So that's going to give Mike the lead here now as these 3 drivers are pitting. Ibra's going to move up into second, Trone up into P3 all of a sudden. And yeah, game on.
And great strategy by Hare there, pitting whilst he's in the lead, and Doug still has a half a second penalty and saving a bit more fuel, so he's just extending that lead right now.
Absolutely, absolutely. Hopefully both the drivers can get out in some clean air and just get right back into that rhythm. And we do see fresh tires from Pappy here, so yeah, all right. Going to be coming out with some fuel in that car and some fresh rubber. We'll see what he can do. So Mike and Ibra, again, very close together here within a second. Ibra's just getting into that slipstream range here now. Now, slipstream in Gran Turismo 7 is quite a bit different than Gran Turismo Sport. For those of you that haven't experienced it yet, it doesn't pull you up to the car that's in front of you as quickly as you would expect it to based off of GT Sport. The slipstream model is actually quite a bit more accurate as well. And depending on track conditions and the car you're driving and multiple factors will actually depend on how effective that slipstream really does pull another race car to another race car. So again, GT7 really upping the ante here on the new platform. And as they continue to fix and patch and sort the things out that aren't working correctly in the game, it is very quickly becoming a very big time title. So it's only going to keep getting better and better. So we got Trone now opting to come into pit lane here as well. So coming in from P3 here. Good pit lane entry there from Trone. So that's going to put Magic Man up into P3 once he comes around here. So Magic Man's actually having himself a pretty good race here as well so far. So not all the drivers have pit, obviously. We still have drivers out that are on their first stint, however long that stint may be. But Mike now pro driver sitting in P1 here. We got Ibra in behind as well, also pro driver, and Ibra is a very consistent race car driver too. We talk about this a lot on the broadcast here. We even get teased that he's commentator's favorite driver, but I just like the style that Ibra brings to the racetrack. I like his patience, I like his consistency, and a lot of the times it does reward him. So you know, it's not always about being the fastest guy on the racetrack. Sometimes just being the most patient and most consistent can also bring you home a very good race result as well. And you know, Ibra's a good example of that. You know, much like Bufu Shidara, just not quite on Bufu Shidara's pace right now currently.
So we all know he's your favourite, Tim. Don't you worry about that. We don't take it personally. We know you love him, but you're absolutely right. I think Ibra, again, he's one of those drivers that you're kind of waiting for to take the next step. And it's happening. Like, you see it every time that you race against him, or you see him racing. he's just another one that just seems to have picked up something else, even though he might not be aware of it quite yet. I remember when he first joined the league, and he was a fair way off, and he's just been chipping away at it. So yeah, another one to keep an eye on.
All right, so we now have Hair Razor starting to chase down Type R. So Type R hasn't pitched yet, folks. Basically, when the 4 drivers up front pit, Hair Razor is going to assume the race lead here. But he is very quickly catching Type R up in front. Now, that could be a good and a bad thing. He's got a little bit of a gap here from Doug right now. If he can get around Type R quickly, he can actually work on opening that gap, because then Doug also has to still navigate around Type R. This is for position, so I mean, this isn't going to be easy. As Boo said, Type R is one of the toughest guys in the series to get around, so let's keep on with Hair Razor here for a minute. As you can see, he's really quickly gaining on Type R here. Let's see where Hair Razor opts to try and make the move here. And fastest lap on track right there with a 150.366 currently, so Hair Razor is cruising. And he's going to do it right here in the T1, the best spot to get around the car here, and he's going to get this done quickly.
And so I'm being very fair there. He wasn't going to make Hair's life easy, but equally he wasn't interested in battling with him and slowing himself down. So excellent bit of driving from both of them.
Absolutely. I'm just waiting for Doug to come around again. Doug gained a little bit of time there, actually. I mean, that was a very very time-effective move there on Hair Razor, as Boo was just saying. But Doug must have had a good corner there, because it looks like he's closed up on both these guys a little bit here. So now that could be good for Doug, because if Type R could stay in Hair Razor's slipstream, once Doug catches Type R's slipstream, this could actually create a 3-way battle here for this position. So let's see if Type R can stick with him here, because eventually that's just going to pull Doug right into the mix.
Absolutely. I mean, from Doug's perspective, he'd probably be hoping that Simon pits in this lap so that he just gets him out the way. So he would have done the hard work of slowing Hair down, closing that gap between the two of them, and just then getting out the way. So well, that's definitely what I'd be hoping for anyway.
And Doug is right there now. Doug is definitely closing in on Type R. You can see him gain a little bit more time there. So Doug's definitely getting some time gained into the corners here. He's definitely outbraking these drivers currently out in front of him here. So Hair Razor's starting to get that gap though now. So here we go. Doug's gone, and obviously Type R just gave him the room to get around quickly there. He knows that Doug's trying to catch Hair Razor, and he also is probably aware that both these drivers are on fresher tires and have already pit. So again, instead of just having an arduous battle for no reason, save his race car. It kind of looks like he did pit. I was just going to say, it kind of looks like maybe he's trying a one-stop strategy, but judging by the amount of fuel these guys have in the cars here today, I don't even think the one-stop might be is possible here. I think you probably really have to nurse this car around the racetrack, and effectively it probably wouldn't pay out for you in the end, because you're going to have to go so slow.
Potentially, but looking at the front two, they're still going, and it's nearly halfway through the race. So I don't know. Maybe there's a one-stop is still possible.
Oh, maybe. Well, hopefully, I guess we'll find out here. Looks like most of the drivers are on a 2-stop here. We got Type R and Magic Man both coming in. Unseen Throne is still out. Monkey Mafia is still out. He has yet to pit as well. So yeah, Mike and Ibra right now just kind of cruising, 32 seconds from Hair Razor and Doug right now.
If those two can eke out one more lap of out of their fuel tanks, one stop is definitely on. Definitely on.
And we're seeing Ibra opt to stay out. We're seeing Mike come in. Yes, we're seeing Mike go into pit lane here. So I don't know what Ibra's tank is looking like, but obviously Ibra figures he's got another one in him here yet. So interesting.
Ibra confirmed as a one-stop. We'll see how that affects the other two, Hair Razor and Doug, because they'll be going past Mike in a second, and they'll be seeing Ibra going straight on.
Well, no,
so
I mean,
they'll be.
You're a racer. I mean, what do you do at this point? You know you're short. You know you can't run to the end of the race unless you really find a way to save fuel. So what do you do now? Do you short fuel here, take fresh rubber on, pound it, and then come back in and do the same thing again?
What, as Mike or as?
Yes, as Mike, of course. In the situation he's in right now.
I don't know, with one extra lap, you'd probably be thinking maybe I can stretch it, but he's gonna everything that he's been doing up to now he's gonna have to do more of. So a little bit more lift and coast, that bit more short shifting, and it's going to be 2 minutes that you're basically asking extra out of the car, which he is actually 4 in his case,
Yes.
which is way short of.
Alright, well, it'll be interesting to see how Mike's race pans out here and see him coming in just that one crucial lap earlier. So, is that a deciding factor for Mike today? We'll find out.
But yeah, definitely decisive. It's a tricky one. Personally, I'd be thinking it's definitely possible, so I'd just be trying to slow down, because otherwise, you've already committed yourself to a one stop. Changing that now, you've lost all the benefits from a 2-stop, just by not doing that bit sooner.
I agree. So we do have Trone Kobe has actually settled in front of Happy Pappy here for P5. So I'm not sure if it was just a mistake from Pappy and Trone got around, or if Trone came out ahead of Pappy based off pit stops. But right there in the mix, chasing Trone right now. So he's still looking really solid. Trone is a AM driver, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. So Trone currently leading the AM division. Simon Happy Pappy currently sitting in P2 there. We got Ibra now in pit lane. And Anto's rounding out our podium here for our amateur division here in the race today. So that is our current top 3 for the amateurs, and currently sitting 5th, 6th, and 7th overall in the race as well. So great job by these 3 drivers so far. Magic Man, also an amateur driver, sitting 8th overall. We got Type R sitting in 9th. He is a pro driver. Unseen Throne is a AM driver. I believe Type R is pro, is he?
Type R is AM.
Oh, okay, so he is AM. Alright, so we got a good field of AMs in this race here today. It's fantastic. We got Monkey Mafia here is in pro division. We see that red stripe on his window banner there. And of course, if Boo Fushidora is racing, he would most certainly be in the pro division here today as well. So.
Although looking at the lap times that the AMs are doing, I'll probably be battling with them. So a pro only name.
So Hairraiser's got a comfortable lead here. We're looking at 2.3 seconds right now on the racetrack. He's in a good spot. Hairraiser's in a comfortable spot as race leader right now. Obviously, that's not the most comfortable gap in the world, but when you got Doug chasing you, 2.3 seconds is a pretty good gap. So Hairraiser's probably feeling a little bit more comfortable right now. He's probably more focused on just hitting his marks and just keeping those laps quick and consistent. And hopefully Doug doesn't pull the time down. And gap management at this point right now for Hairraiser. And of course these guys may be thinking about the fact that there's 2 potential drivers here on a one-stop strategy as well.
Well, one for definite. If Ibra can keep the time down to within, I'd say, 28 seconds to P1, then he's in for a shout for the race win just from not having to pit for 30 seconds,
and, I mean, right
which is
now,
effectively the time loss.
Currently sitting 18.8 seconds off the race leader, so in very good position here currently on the racetrack. And Mike is only 20 seconds off that race leader as well, tucked right back in behind Ibra actually. So best case scenario here for Mike right now is he's got a drafting buddy here and potentially needs to save some extra fuel. This is his opportunity right here, right now, to get what he needs to get to the end of this race here.
Absolutely, and now that's exactly what I'd be doing. So this is literally his best, the best outcome could have hoped for from pitting that one lap earlier than Ibra, and now all he has to do is just sit behind, get into that 5th gear as quickly as possible. Don't slow Ibra down, because you only just break it. You're just increasing the gap to the front too. So, yeah, best place for Mike. Stay there, save as much fuel as possible, and try and take it at the end.
Absolutely, absolutely. All he's got to do is keep Ibra right there till the final lap, and then he can make his move then. And he should have a little good, some good tires if he does it right. He can save some tire while he's back behind there as well. He might have a little more rubber on that car than Ibra up in front, and that might be the deciding difference in a drag race scenario. So,
absolutely. And just watching Happy Pappy, he's just caught up to Trone. So interesting to see how those two are going to battle it out. Whether they battle it out or they wait for the next pit stop to sell their differences.
Absolutely, but loving this battle right now. We're going to go jump onto this battle here as we're following Trone Kobe. We'll jump on board and we'll take a little look behind here. So This is what Trone's review mirror essentially looks like. Now, I don't know if you folks have ever been in a real race car or not before, but I got to tell you, these drivers really do have very limited field of views. No matter what mirror you're looking at, you just don't have a lot to see. There's a lot of roll cage, a lot of safety stuff in play, and it makes it really difficult to see. So you really do got to give these GT drivers worldwide a lot of credit, because these guys don't have spotters. They have communication obviously within the pits to their team, to their crew chiefs, but they don't have spotters telling them there's a car beside them like you see in NASCAR or F1 or the bigger circuits out there worldwide. So you know, it really is, these guys are really perfecting their skills and their racecrafts as drivers, having vision like this in real life. This is about what it looks like in real life. All you see is a dot, but in reality that dot is less than a second away from you.
Talking about poor visibility, I had the chance of sitting in a funny car dragster, and they put a canopy down on me, and it was anything but funny. I'll tell you what, it was worse than looking through a letterbox. It was absolutely, I wouldn't want to wish it on anybody.
No, I mean, quick, very fast cars, those cars, oh my goodness. Oh. Just a rocket in a straight line. But I mean, they're not designed to turn corners either, so I guess your vision only needs to be face forward for aerodynamic efficiency, I suppose. But I don't know, man.
Absolutely.
I guess the sponsors probably provide a few pairs of underwear throughout the season, if I had to guess. So, yikes.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you just hold on for dear life for those things.
Yeah.
But going on.
Alright, what do we got going here? It looks like Pappy's pretty content with just, ooh, nice little mistake, good recovery there. He's gonna have some dirty tires though, and track limit penalty, so that sucks. It's gonna cost him about 3/4 of a second next lap time, so he needs to really tuck up behind Tron here. With any luck, he can just stay in that slipstream once he serves that penalty, or Tron makes a mistake and he gets around him. Obviously, the best case scenario for Pappy, having to serve that penalty here. Yeah, they might make him serve it this lap. They do. You can see him slow down a little bit there. But again, it's not in the worst spot here, Barcelona. You're coming into a braking zone. You do lose a little bit more than the half second, but not quite as drastic as, say, a track like Le Mans, where it's in the middle of a really high speed, full speed straight, you know, and you know you're losing 2 seconds off everybody near you. So, not quite as bad here, but nonetheless not ideal. We got Magic Man sitting in 7th place. He's having a good race too today. We're seeing some different names up there. We're really... and this is what we mean about these multi-tiered races. You know, we got 2 divisions on the track at the same time right now, and the racing is absolutely fantastic. We're seeing drivers in positions we're not used to seeing them in here. They're having good races. They're looking very strong out there today. That's why we do this. We love to see it. And these guys probably have the biggest grins on their face right now. Anto here, he's charged. You can see a little bit of damage on that front left quarter panel of his out of there, so he must have gotten into either another car or a wall somewhere, but mainly looking cosmetic there. Type R is on the move. He's trying to chase Anto down here. He really came zipping around that final corner. He got a good line through there. And you can see the time dripping off Anto there, about 3 or 4 hundredths every second there. So he definitely got a good run through that final corner. Unseen Throne chasing them down here. Ooh, just got into the grass under braking there and almost lost the car. Did a great job to keep it underneath him. And you can see he's got a half-second track limit penalty for the final corner there as well. So we got Monkey Mafia now coming into pit lane, and he's got quite a bit of fuel in that car. So... maybe just throwing some rubber on the car, and he's just going to full send it the rest of the race. We're not really sure here, but in pit lane nonetheless.
Interesting strategy. I mean, if he was planning on doing that from the beginning, then maybe short fueling in his first pit stop to save it for this point would have probably been the best way forward, but we'll see how that plays out for him.
Absolutely. And Tron Colby having a good race here right now too, currently sitting P5. He wasn't feeling all that great before race time. He wasn't even sure if he was going to race. So also having to suffer a qualifying ban for this race as well. So he wasn't actually allowed to qualify, so he's doing pretty well for himself here.
I think that was Supra.
Supra?
It was Supra, yeah.
Sorry,
Supra's got the qualifying ban.
Supra. My bad.
And Supra obviously opting not to take to the grid today, so he'll be serving that qualifying ban at the next race that he enters.
Good thing Boo was here to straighten that out. Misinformed? My bad. It wasn't Tron. My apologies to Tron. I thought it was Tron. I made a mistake when I heard it in chat, but So yeah, we'll see Super having to serve that penalty in round 3 of the Miatas. Just because the driver opts out of the race or can't make the race for any reason, that means that that penalty will carry over to the next race. So he'll have to suffer that qualifying ban next race. But the Miatas, pretty easy to make up ground here if you got a good rhythm. So starting from the back of the pack, also not necessarily the worst thing in some situations, depending on the track you're starting on as well. Sometimes that's the ideal spot to start.
Absolutely. And actually, on the point of throwing in penalties, I think he's probably the only driver that I know in the last 3 championships that we've run in the GTRC that hasn't received a penalty. I think that's right.
That's very impressive. So props to Tron right there to keep it right and tight. We like that.
Absolutely.
And it just goes to show that he's, and I mean, his consistency is probably a big part of that. He has control of his race car at all times. You know, and we all make mistakes as race car drivers. Sometimes we dip a wheel into the grass, or we take a corner just a little bit wrong, and we bin our cars. It happens to the best of the racers out there in the world. But other than that, the consistency definitely probably is a large part of that. Consistent drivers have full control of their race car 99% of the time. So.
Absolutely, and there's been a position swap for P3, so my game passed Ibra. So if I was in a position, exactly not what I wanted to be doing, knowing that I was running low on fuel.
No, I think I'd be waiting to let Ibra get a run on me here and just kind of left off that loud pedal enough just to let him get back ahead again.
Looks like Mike's just more interested in just pulling ahead, so Ibra probably thinking, probably a little bit annoyed that it's happened, but I'd be thinking, you know what, that's great, you carry on, man, you just towed me along, I'll just hit that little bit more fuel so I can push harder towards the end.
Well, I mean, really, Ibra could play the role of just, I'm going to apply a serious amount of pressure here for 3, 4, 5 laps and see how you handle it as well. Force him to use up some of that fuel in that car. Make it look like you're going to fight him, but you're not really going to fight him. You're just going to park it right underneath that rear bumper.
Oh yeah. But this does mean that Trone's catching up to them, so he was a good way away, and now he's only 1.1 seconds behind.
And closing. Oh, losing a little bit of time there actually as they come through, but live timing jumps around, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, as the cars cross the live timing lines, so the cars. So the way that racetracks track a driver on track, amount of laps, their race times, all that thing, is they have a little device that's called a transponder unit. Now in each series, no matter what the car is or what kind of racing it is, that transponder unit is to be placed in a very specific position on those race cars, and that is how the race control gets all their lap times, figures out who gets the fastest lap on the racetrack, figures out how many laps each driver has ran, etc., etc. So underneath, typically near the behind the gas can in most of these cars, depending on what kind of car it is. The MRs obviously did the gas tank is on the front of the car, so it'd be more behind the engine. But usually behind where your seat would be in your car and before your rear bumper, somewhere in that position, you have to put this little transponder unit on. And of course, it's programmed into your driver name, your racing number, so that's your unit for the series, and it goes to every racetrack that you go, no matter where it is in the world you're racing, depending what you're racing. And that's how these guys track things like lap times and speed of race car drivers, who's doing really good through a sector compared to another driver. And that's where broadcasters and production crews get all this information from. It's from a tiny little box with a red flashing light that's strapped to the race cars as they go around the racetrack. So a very simple little piece of technology, has been around for years, but it provides us with some really great racing information all the time.
So one little interesting thing that happened there in the pit stops, I noticed that Doug under-fueled compared to Hair Razor there. So Hair Razor opting to go for a full tank, and Doug Barrow trying his luck and under-fueling just to gain that track position. Which, if I was Ibra, and I'd be paying attention to that, going excellent. So the guys behind me, they'll be battling it all out. Doug will be aware that he's got less fuel than the cars around him. And so Ibra looking in a really, really strong position here. He's just running to the end right now.
Absolutely. And we got just over 14-second gap to Doug and Hair Razor from those two drivers that are on a different strategy here. So here we go, race on. Hair Razor and Doug do have a knack to reel drivers in when they're ready to start pushing that race car. So we'll have to see if that's going to start happening here. I think it's a little bit early in the race yet to start doing that. I think we'll probably start seeing that at the 10-minute mark. You're going to see both these guys just decide that, okay, I've got the fuel to push it this hard, let's go. Hair Razor got a really tight line through there. You can see Doug was a little bit more aggressive coming through there, so Hair Razor's just opting to really hold that beautiful racing line around the track and just hope that that's going to give him a better time around the racetrack than Doug's a little more aggressive style right now. Doug's going to be wearing those tires out a little bit harder than Hair Razor is, just based off the two different driving styles, so Hair Razor looks like he's just locking in for a push here, to be honest.
And that's exactly what I'd be doing in his position, just constantly just keep pushing Doug down the road, make him use all of the RPM in that car, just shift late, burn off that fuel, and just put him in a tricky position where he has to decide whether he wants to battle for that race win, or he wants to settle for a podium position, or possibly even drop further down the grid.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. The strategies have really swapped the drivers around in their positions. I mean, we got Mike now currently leading the race. We got 6/10 of a second gap on Ibra, who really is in the best position currently here, we think, to win the race today. So we'll have to see how that plays out. We've got Doug here in P3, and already closing that gap on the drivers up front are these two. It was 14.1, now we're down to 12.5. So very quickly are they closing up second place is Ibra. Hair Razor starting to close up on Doug a little tiny bit here. He's almost back in that slipstream there, and that's ideally where he wants to be. So very, very close to getting inside Doug's slipstream here. Magic Man in P5 and actually P1 in the amateur division right now. So he's having a good race here. I don't know if he's got the fuel or tire to go all the way. We'll bring that information up for you guys here in about 5 minutes. But looking solid there so far, leading amateur side. Type R and Tro and Kobe are in a little bit of a battle here. We're getting very close to having a battle developing between the two drivers. This is for second and third place in the AMs as well. So this is 4 podium positions between these two drivers here. And you can hear just behind is, I believe, Unseen Throne is not too far behind these two. So, and Happy Pappy in tow. So potentially 4-way battle for the podium in amateur here by the end of the race today. That'd be exciting. That would be very exciting.
You love to see it, is the whole point. And ideally what we'd like to see with the MX-5 or actually GTRC in the future is enough drivers that we can actually split out whole different lobbies. So everybody, we've got like, I don't know, 14 cars battling for each other for positions within Pro and Dam. Although I hate that category, I might just call it Group 1 and Group Alpha. Just so everybody feels they're not in the lesser group.
I like the Pro-Am spin to it. Pro-Am makes it a little bit sound a little bit better. You know that the drivers obviously can race, but they're still learning. When you hear Pro-Am,
yeah.
When you hear amateur, you just immediately think yellow stripe. You know, rookie yellow, right?
Yeah, exactly. Nobody wants to hear that. But it's honestly, it's fantastic to see. It's nice to be talking about 2 different podium position battles happening at the moment, because it's an intense battlefield in the Pro and the AMs.
Yeah, I mean, podium positions up for grabs on both sides here today too, as well. Last race was pretty well decided by the end there for the most part, but this one's a whole different story today. There's going to be some excited gentlemen, I think, at the end of this race, needless to say.
Oh yeah, it'll be. I'm interested to hear from Ibra, Doug, Hare, of course, but also Pappy and Trone, because they've been really going some. I'm sure they're going to be exhausted by the end of it. So interested to hear their thoughts and just the whole demeanor. I'm looking forward to hearing their voices and hearing the effort that they've been through.
And it's, we got Anto almost getting it really wrong there, but he kept it together. Great job by Anto. They're coming into T1, and he almost lost that car sideways. Monkey looked like he's just coming off a spin as we see him just getting back up to speed on the start straightaway here. So EDA boys having a little bit of struggle here today in those miatas, but hey, that's all good. They're on track, they're racing, and that's all it's all about. Having fun, hanging out with their friends, and a little friendly competition never hurts too. But Mike is starting to pull a gap on Ibra here, 1.2 seconds. So, not sure what the situation is there. Let's bring up some race info for everybody. Let's do that. Let's bring up them their speedometers and then tire and fuel situation. So again, racing soft tires on all the drivers. That's the required tire for the series. Aaron coming with that like as well. Much love, brother. We appreciate you. So soft tires here, and of course fuel situation. Might be looking pretty good here. Got Ibra, Tires kind of really much the same here for the most part. Maybe even a little more worn than Mike actually out in front there. But difference is definitely the fuel between the two drivers here. So Doug in P3, of course, chasing 7.8 seconds now to P2 and P1 there. 9 seconds to first place, 7 seconds to second place. So, and Hairraiser not too far behind, just 1.6 seconds behind Doug. So these two drivers are the drivers that are on a two-stop strategy, chasing the two guys out front who are on a one-stop strategy. So plenty of fuel on the car, and you can see the tires in great shape for a push. Same here from Hairraiser. Doug's tires actually looking quite a bit better than Hairraiser's tires right now.
Yeah, from the coming from the driver, that normally complains about how his tires are more worn than everybody else's. He's in the driving seat here. He's gonna have the least wear of anybody in the race so far.
Absolutely, looking really good there. Magic Man, his tires are looking they're looking tired. They're definitely looking tired. But and fuel is iffy. He may need to make another stop here. Trone's fuel and tires, I mean, Trone's tires always look good, and again, that's just due to that nice consistent pace that he carries around the racetrack. He doesn't beat the race car up if he doesn't need to, and it shows in his tires and his fuel situation all the time, week in and week out. Not surprised to see Trone's tires in as good shape as they always are. Again, they are fairly fresh tires, but still in very good shape. We've got Unseen Throne here. He's looking pretty hard on those lefts right now, but and fuel again for him is iffy here as well. So that could be unfortunate for Magic Man and Unseen Throne here, both sitting in podium positions currently. Might have to make another stop. So Happy Pappy's in a great spot right now to at least pick up a P2 if those guys got to stop here by the end of the race. So Pappy just needs to dial it in and just keep doing what he's doing. We see Type R starting to close up. So we might start seeing a little bit of battling here between Type R and Pappy. Pappy getting a little bit wide there, so Type R really closing up there. And bam, now we got a battle here. So this is going to be a battle for P8 overall, and I believe 4th and 5th for the amateur side of the division here. But tires, Type R's tires are definitely starting to wear. They're starting to yell at him a little bit, so he might not have the race car to get the job done here on Pappy. It'd be interesting to see what happens. We know he's a good driver. We know that that he can do it. It's just whether or not that the tires are going to allow it to happen at this point for him. Moving down the list, we got Anto here. Anto's on fairly new rubber, lots of fuel. No issues getting around the rest of the race. Monkey's got great fuel. The tires are definitely hurting here. We might see Monkey maybe stop for tires, or he might just tough it out here for the rest of the race. But that front left is definitely in trouble here for Monkey. So he's just got to maintain. But back to the lead here. We see Ibra's really closed up on Mike here. So Mike has either opted to do some fuel saving in a couple of corners around this racetrack, and that's allowed Ibra to gain, or Ibra's just outright caught up. But this is good for Hairraiser and Doug. If these guys get into an arduous battle here for the remainder of these the race here, that's going to allow those two to really get into this fight before the end of the race. We still got 8 minutes. There's time here for Doug and Hairraiser to catch these two yet. We're only talking 4 seconds from second place here. Doug's been knocking about a second a lap off of these guys, so the potential is there. And I just seen a driver go into pit lane. Hairraiser must have made a mistake here somewhere. He's a little bit off the pace here now, but still cruising. Who pit? Unseen Throne has had to stop. As I suspected, he would have to make a stop for fuel, so that is going to change our amateur side of things. So now Trone is leading our amateur division here at the race today, and he's very, very closely followed by Magic Man, who's, again, same situation. He may be fuel saving here a little bit. We'll see if Magic Man can make it to the end. And then we've now got Type R in P3 in the amateur division, so he has found his way around Pappy. And Pappy's just sitting off that podium here right now, but could be a freebie if Magic Man has to pit. So all he's got to do is just maintain here right now.
I don't think Simon's got the fuel to last to the end of the race.
He's definitely
has
got
he just
the
pulled
tire.
over? Oh no, he's gone defensive.
Yeah, we are seeing some defense from Type R here, so we're gonna see the defensive ability of Type R here. But again, his tires are in a lot worse shape than Pappy, and Pappy's gonna get the job done right here. To see if Type R is going to try to
Great
respond. Absolutely not. No chance. Pappy just has too much tire under that race car. I think unless Happy Pappy makes a mistake here, that might have been Type R's last shot at that position. So great job by Pappy there. A little bit sideways coming into the corner. So those are the mistakes that Pappy can't be making right now in the position he's in. But he's just got to keep it together and just keep focused on what's going on here. I'm really enjoying this amateur division here today, Chad. They are really going hard at each other. It is a lot of fun to watch these guys today. They've been pretty much the stars of the shows for the most part. I mean, not a whole lot's been happening in the pro division. We've seen a couple of moves made. We're seeing some good, smart, strategic racing from these drivers. But with that being said, we do see Doug's really starting to close up here. I mean, he's within 1.5 seconds now. Ibra is on the back end of our leader here. This is pro division as well, and the overall on the race here. So. And Doug's coming. Doug is coming. Doug smells blood in the water. He's like a shark now at that point. This is at the point where Doug is here. He smells that blood in the water, and he is ready to pounce on his prey. So Doug is most certainly going to make a battle out of this before the end of the race here. We got 5 minutes remaining, 2 more laps, 3 more laps potentially. There's a battle ensuing for P1, 2, and 3 overall, and for the pro division here for sure coming. It's happening. We're going to see it shortly. With that being said, let's get through our field here. It's starting to close up battle here too. This could be a 4-way battle. So we got Trone in the lead for our AMs. We got Pappy in second, and now Magic Man in P3. So what happened to Type R? Type R must have made a mistake. He's dropped down a couple of positions here. So again, big change in our amateur side today. But here we go, battle for the lead, guys. We got to stick with these pro guys here for this right now. We're going to keep our eye on those AM guys as well. And Doug took a look there. He took a look. He's just looking around, getting some fresh air in the race car. Side-by-side battle for the lead here. Ibra is not going to get the job done. Mike gets the better run through there. And now Doug's closed right up. So Doug is in this fight. And there he goes. 3 wide. Here we go. 3 wide coming through the final corner, chat. Oh, or not the final quarter. Quarter 4, 5, sorry. Oh, and they pull it. Oh, look at these guys go. And Doug in the lead. Here we go. Doug is in the lead. Great move. Wow. Wow. And that's why they're in the pro division, ladies and gentlemen. That was an unbelievable driving by all 3 of these drivers. Doug gets the lead. Ibra moving into second, and Mike is the big loser out of that battle, falling all the way down to P3. And he's starting to lose those 2 up front. Ibra is giving Doug some business here. Ibra's like, yeah. Hey, no. That's my race to win. You get back here, my friend. So Ibra on the chase. And Hair Razor's right there. Hair Razor's there. This isn't done yet. This is not done yet. Absolutely fantastic stuff by our pro division here today. Once again. My goodness. And Doug just getting an optimal line through that corner. You just see the gap he pulled on Ibra there. He gained an easy 10.5 to 2 seconds just in that corner there. So, yeah, it's battle on. Oh, my goodness. Here we go. What do we got left? We've got a little over 3 minutes remaining. These guys are going to get 2 more laps here. This will be our penultimate lap as these guys come around. And here we go. White flag, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's get over to our AM guys here really quick while these guys are. We got Tyrone Colby's got a juicy cushion here. 10 seconds in the lead for the AM guys. He just needs to bring this one home. He's in a good position as leader of the amateur division here and 5th overall. Happy Pappy also very cozy now. 10 seconds to the lead, 30 seconds to the 3rd place driver behind him. All he's got to do is bring this car home. P2 finish for Pappy today. Magic Man sitting in P3, but he is not comfortable by any means. Unseen Throne and Type R are both in the picture here. We may see a battle for P3 in the amateur side before the end of this race, but back to our leader. Doug's gone. Doug is like, I got there. Catch me if you can, boys. And he is moving. Boo called it at the beginning of the broadcast. He said Doug looked the best to win here today, and that is most certainly looking like it's going to be the case. We're knocking on wood. But Doug very... as he makes a mistake there. Great job by Doug to recover. And Mike back around Ibra. So Mike now into P2. The fuel. Does he have the fuel? The fuel is the deciding factor for Mike, and Hair Razor's on the back of these 3. So here we go again. Woo! These guys are giving it everything they got. Ooh, Hairraiser took a look. Oh, a little bit of contact, and we know Hairraiser's he's gonna wait. Hairraiser's not gonna move. He's gonna wait. There we go. So Mike back up into P3. Hairraiser's gonna back off. Make sure he gives that position. Now, you know, huge respect to Hairraiser in play there. That was definitely not his fault based off what we just saw there. He just Mike just cut into his line a little bit there, and it was just incidental contact. So fair play to Hairraiser nonetheless, and race back on between these two. But as Ibra's probably like, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Oh, okay, I just got to worry about trying to catch Doug now. And at this point, maybe Ibra's just thinking, you know what, second place, I'm okay with that.
I don't know. I reckon Ibra had it in him to win. That was a very clever strategy. But still, going up, what was that? 2 positions from qualifying. That's still very good. But Mike is the. That's where the question mark is. I don't know if he has got the fuel to last.
Ooh, it's close.
It's
I mean,
looking very thin.
He's looking at a couple leaders here as we're coming around. Hairraiser's starting to put the pressure. We're just trying to keep track of our leaders here. Obviously, we want to make sure we catch them coming across the start-finish line. There we go. Hairraiser taking a look. He's going to be forced to the outside on this corner here. Not the ideal situation, but maybe a cutback. Taking a look at it here. Ooh, and here he goes. Coming in with the cutback. Great move. We've seen it coming. And you can see Mike there. He's just like, yeah, you know what, brother? I can't do nothing about that. Good play. Good play. So Mike's just going to tuck in behind here, and I think he realizes that fuel's what's killing his race here right now, and he's just hoping that he has enough to get through to the end. But let's get back up to Doug here. He's coming around the final corners. So Doug coming out with an impressive move, a 3-wide move just a couple laps ago, and he's going to bring this home here for another race win in the Miatas. So massive shout out to Doug. Great race by Doug, and great pace, good patience, good strategy, and bada bing bada boom, race win for Doug. So can't wait to hear what he says. Ibra with the P2. Okay, commentator's favorite is what everybody says, so good job to Ibra. Really thrilled for Ibra. He had a good race today. Hairraiser, third place. Good comeback for Hairraiser. And Mike is, he's on fumes. Looked like he just ran out of gas as he crossed that line there. So great job to manage that fuel. Still managing a P4. Nothing to be ashamed about there. So here we go. Our AM guys. We got Unseen Throne. He is going to pick up P3 for our AM guys. So congratulations to Unseen. But Throne coming around these final corners here right now, and he's going to pick up his race win here today in Barcelona. So congratulations to Throne. Well-deserved win. Well-deserved win. I think he's going to be pretty excited.
Absolutely, and it'd be nice to hear from him. So congratulations to Throne, and obviously happy as well with the P2.
And we're going to watch him come around for a P2 for Pappy. He's like, I don't even care. Let's go.
Wave to the fans.
Woo! Go Pappy. Thrilled for Pappy. And Unseen Throne. We're seeing names that we don't typically expect to see in the top of the podiums here. And again, yeah, having guys that are paired up, having that pace, paired up properly for these drivers that have close racing, and this is what we're seeing. We're seeing drivers really starting to show their skill within their groups, and great job by all the drivers. It was a fantastic race today, and each and every one of these drivers really deserves a round of applause. They put it all out on the line. They fought hard, and it was a good race today. It was a fun race today. This was spectacular. I'm really starting to enjoy this Miata series, and really kind of hope these guys develop this into maybe a more bigger series moving forward. So so much fun to watch these things. Good, my goodness.
100%. One thing I've realised is we've lost Bo Snipe.
We did, didn't we? When did we lose? We must have lost him fairly early on in the race, because I really don't remember saying his name that much, actually, now that you mention it.
No, neither did I. I realised this about 3 laps ago. I'm going, oh my god, where's he gone? Because I was looking forward to saying, and Bo finishes the race, but yeah, not there. So try and catch up with him after the broadcast and see what happens.
So we must have had an early disconnect there. We didn't even see it. The race was that interesting. We completely missed that we were even missing a driver on the field today, Chad. So what a great job by these guys. That was a great race. That's one for the books there. That was a really good race. Great battles in both divisions too, all race long. All right. Well, if you want to jump over to the driver's chat, I will pop over in about a minute here, and we'll kick off some juicy interviews. I can't wait to hear from some of these guys today. This is going to be fun.
Absolutely. Catch you in a bit, Ghost.
All right. All right, chat. So there we have it. Doug coming in with the big time win. Great job to Doug there. A great move with 3 laps remaining in the race, pushing that 3 wide, coming into that very, very sharp left-hand corner. All 3 drivers made it through there 3 wide. Absolutely impressive job by all those drivers. Mike's race really came down to fuel conservation. He didn't quite save enough for that battle at the end, and a P4 finish for him, but hats off, great finish. Pro drivers putting on a show as always, but I mean the stars of the show today, folks, are really the amateur drivers here today. Absolutely spectacular race from this amateur division here today, and if this is what we are expecting to see in multi-divisional events here at the GTRC, it is going to be a good time for racing here at the GTRC, and man, it's going to be a lot of fun to broadcast, because that was just some great racing all the way around today. And I mean, hats off to our drivers, hats off to the officials over at the GTRC. What a great series they've got here, and I think this series really does have some good steam to move forward into something so much better and so much bigger. So hats off, man. Great race, absolutely great race, really enjoyed it. So we're gonna go jump into the drivers chat. We're just gonna let these guys decompress a little bit, as we always do during our race broadcasts. We always like to let the drivers kind of you get that out of their system. I'm a racer, I understand what you're going through after a race like that. So we're just going to give them a minute to settle it all in. We're going to save that replay. That was actually a really fantastic race. So we want to hold on to that replay, and I think that one's some highlight reel worthy replay. What do you guys think? I seem to think so. How do you guys enjoy the race today? Do you enjoy the miatas? If you do, please drop a comment below in either one of the chats that you're hanging out in. Let us know what you think about the series. Let us know what you think about the commentary. Let us know what you think about everything that you guys are seeing. We love the constructive criticism here. So just great racing, absolutely great racing all the way around today. Thrilling, really gets you in the mood for a race yourself. I got one coming up here in a few hours myself, a championship race, round 3 for me in my series, and this has just got me pumped. I'm ready to go now. I'm excited. I got my head in the game now, and yeah, I can't wait to see what we've got. But we're gonna jump in. We're gonna go hit the drivers up. So I'm just gonna flip screens. Just bear with me for a moment.
Cool. Great race, lads. Off to Tim.
As soon as I unmute my mic, you guys can even hear me. Imagine that, hey?
There we go.
First of all, to all of the drivers on track today, absolutely spectacular race. Both divisions, great battles, all race long. Great strategies, great different strategies. Seriously, it was a really fun, exciting race to watch, and just every single one of you really do deserve a round of applause today. So a great job to every single driver on track, no matter where it was you finished, because it was exciting start to finish for sure. So great job to everybody. We're going to jump down, and we're going to start with our AM guys. Honestly, in my opinion today, folks, the amateurs really were the stars of the show today. Even with the great battle at the end of the race by our pro drivers, the amateurs really did have a lot of close, hard battling all race long amongst themselves in their division today, and it was just absolutely fun to watch. Drivers that don't get a ton of camera time got a ton of camera time today, and we'd love to see that. We'd love to see the new faces up battling for the wins and those podium positions. So huge congratulations, amateur guys. You guys seriously stars of the show today. You did a fantastic job. Sorry, pros, it's just what I see on track. You know, Unseen, my guy, P3 today, is he in the chat here still?
Yeah.
Awesome,
yeah.
awesome. How you feeling right now, brother? How you feeling?
Upset.
Upset?
honestly.
Oh no.
I should have had that one, man. I actually pulled at like 5 or 6, something like that, and then turn 1 I had a little, or turn 2 we had a little incident, and then once again like last week, pull really good, and then start at the back again and work my way back up. So, but yeah, I'm cool with 3. That's fun. That's fine. Pappy, I'm really happy for Pappy, man. That's a good
Cheers,
race
bro.
on his part. But yeah, man, it was fun. It was a fun race.
And I mean, how are you liking this division split setup? Are you enjoying the division
It's
split
cool.
setup more?
I love it.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, I like it.
I'm gonna let Bo step in, of course, ask you a question too. Obviously, you guys are close friends with Bufu Shidara in the series here, and I'm sure he's got some pretty great questions to ask you guys as well. So we'll let Bo step in and talk down scene here for a second.
So, Throne Man, that was a wicked race. It looked like it was really busy. I didn't realize you fell off the back of the grid, but that strategy looked busy. So, what was your race like, and how were you coping with the pressure?
Well, since I was gonna do fuel map 3 the whole time and try to do just a one stop, and but once I got knocked off, I just figured I would use my first tank just in fuel map 1 and try to catch back up, which I did, and then I actually had to pit again just for a little bit more gas. I didn't change the tires, but at the very end, I think I had like 3 laps to go or something, and 4 laps to go, and I went ahead and pit again, and just to get a little bit more fuel so I can run on fuel map 1 and just try to keep it going. But yeah, my strategy kind of switched up just because of the beginning of the race, but it was fun, man. It was a lot of fun. I love this track too, so.
Man, massive congratulations, and it's good to see you developing so rapidly as well. So, like from race 1 to race 2 and fighting for podiums, it's massive congratulations to you, buddy.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
And of course, your moment in the sun, my man. Shoutouts.
I'll give a shout out to Doug, all right? Because Doug has been the key influence on getting my times quicker. So shout out to Doug. And to anybody out there that's watching and you're like too scared to come join, you should probably come join and just figure it out, because I was scared at the beginning, but obviously now I'm very comfortable. It's a great community. Everybody's welcoming, and, it's a fun time, so.
Awesome. Well, hey, cheers, man. Good shoutouts, and we do know that Doug works really hard with all the drivers on track. It doesn't matter what the pace is. So that's what Doug does. And we were talking about that a little earlier in the broadcast, and we'll give Doug his definitely give him his shining moment here at the end of the interviews here as well. But congratulations, man. I'm really, really thrilled for you guys. You guys are really looking spicy in your division, and I can't wait for 2 more weeks to see what you guys throw at us for real. So great job today, man, and 2 weeks to practice. What are we looking for coming into the next round?
First place for sure.
There we go. So we got Unseen tagged down for a P1 finish. Let's see if he can bring it home. I mean, we're always rooting for all you guys out there. We love to see the great racing, the clean racing, the etiquette on track, and just great job by you today. So congratulations and enjoy it, man.
Thank you.
All right, so our second place guy in the AM side today, chat, and I am absolutely thrilled. I'm so thrilled for this guy. My hair's actually standing up on the back of my neck. Mr. Pappy, I'm absolutely excited for you, man. Congratulations, brother. What a great race.
Nice one, Ghost. Thank you.
Right from the get-go, Boo shouted out, saying you were looking really strong, and if you could keep that consistency, you would be a competitor here today. And, well, here we are. We're talking to our second place driver in the AM division today. So talk us through it, man. What was going through your mind today?
I was just calm and collect. Didn't have a strategy because I hadn't had too much practice. Cleared the little minor messes at the first couple of bends. Tucked in behind Mike and Ibra the best I could. I could see Type R and Chrome Colby squabbling behind. I managed to be like 4 seconds behind Ibra and Mike, 4 seconds in front of them, and I thought, just stay calm, do your own race. Got to 20 minutes. I've seen the outside rubber we're wearing, so new rubber, calculated the fuel, got that as good as I could. And yeah, everything was sweet. And then I seen Trone find his pace, that's Mr. Colby, and he'd be coming at me like a Cleveland Brown middle linebacker. Oh, he's filling my mirrors. Oh man, he must have been that half a second a lap faster. He had a great race and he caught behind me. Then he got me on the strategy. He must have had a great in lap at the 40-minute mark because he come out the pits a good gap in front of me, and I come in behind Type R and thrown onto the circuit, not realising that they didn't have enough fuel. And I was trying my socks off to catch them. I didn't know. I thought they were going to the end. But yeah, it was great. I was.
I know he's pretty excited for you too. So we're gonna let Bo talk to you a little bit here. But congratulations, mate, and I hope that this just gives you a bunch of gleaming confidence moving into round 3, and I hope that we see you battling for P1 up there with the rest of the guys as well. So we'll let Boo take over here.
Cheers, guys. Thank you very much.
Happy man, massive congratulations. That was huge. Did you know you were battling for P1, P2 when you set off with 20 minutes in?
With that, like, atmosphere, my guy. I hope you're
to be
well.
honest,
Or were you not paying attention?
I was really concentrating on Mike and Ibra. At the start there, after it settled down a bit, and I could see they were just pulling away a little bit, and I thought, right, just stay with it. You're doing 52s, the odd 51. And I knew they were squabbling, they were too close and they weren't working comfortably together. And I've raced with them two guys for the last couple of years in some brilliant races. And I thought, okay, they could have a mishap, and you never know. I might get a 4th or a 5th. Because the damage with the game, it can actually crucify you. But that wasn't to be. They went one stop, I believe, or did they have to fuel save or something towards the end? Not too sure. The different strategies across the board was slightly confusing. I just felt I was going backwards and I was trying my socks off. Well, it panned out. Where did I come in the end? 6 overall?
Yeah, 6 overall and second in class, so honestly.
Yeah, I'm glad the class division has come in. It's novel to us and much appreciated, gentlemen, for the attempt. Thanking you all.
No, nice congratulations, man. The one thing I was going to say was you're driving with a lot more confidence, especially in this race. Do you think you've had a bit more of a step change in performance? Do you feel like you're driving a bit more differently or more confidently, I should say?
To be honest with you, I'll put the pad down for a couple of weeks. Instead of just keep practicing.
I'm doing good, brother. I hope you're doing really well.
When things going wrong, I just left it alone. If you go and look at my character, my avatar, you'll probably see I haven't done too many miles over the last 2 or 3 weeks. So perhaps having a rest has been a good thing.
Well, I'm like with the new Pappy, so long may it continue, buddy.
Nice one, thanking you.
Yeah, and just again, man, fantastic race. I really am so thrilled for you. I can't wait to see.
That's a ghost.
I can't wait to see you throw that car around the next track. But shoutouts. You get to get some shoutouts here today. We love it.
Feels like we've lost Ghost a little bit. So, Pappy, do you have any shoutouts to the rest of the guys or anybody at all?
Well, of course, all you lot for racing alongside us. Thank you for putting up with me on my pad, all you big steering wheel boys. And yeah, it's just great to get together on a Saturday night and have some friendly competition. Nice one, lads. Fair play to you all.
And cheers and congratulations, man. Enjoy it, and hopefully, with any luck, maybe we're talking to you on the top of the podium next week. Next round. You just never know.
Well, it could happen, but there again, I'm not going to guarantee it.
Hey, as long as you're going out there and having fun, I mean, that's the most important part. But
that's the important thing.
Today, your hard work is rewarded with a P2 finish, and there's no shame in that. So, congratulations, man, and absolutely thrilled for you.
Well, I'm chuffed to bits with a P6 overall.
Hey, that was a good race.
That's probably because Bo weren't there.
All right, we're gonna move to that winner though.
Chat to you guys later.
Yeah, you betcha. You betcha. Take care, Pappy. We're moving over to Tron. Tron Colby. You know, when we were we talk about Tron a lot in the broadcast as well because we like his consistency in his racing ability. He's not always the guy that's pushing for the fastest lap on track or to be the fastest guy on track. What he's always trying to do is perfect his craft. And today, the consistency was just absolutely top notch, and that continuation of just being consistent and keeping the car safe really rewarded Tron Colby today. And he had a great race. He had pretty good pace here as always, and P1 finish. So congratulations, mate! Great race by you. And it was a battle though. It definitely wasn't an easy race. You had to fight through that pack to get to where you got by the end of the race. But what was going through your mind through that whole race?
Man, when I saw that first incident at T1, I was like, oh, please don't let it be me. Because it usually, I only want to get the worst of it. But I managed through. I was surprised Happy Peppy had pace today. So I was like, okay, I got to catch this guy now. But my pace was pretty good, you know? I mean, it was just a pretty good race for me.
Absolutely, and I mean, me and Boo were talking about it in the broadcast, and your consistency is just so on par. Do you think that maybe you're ready to try and break through that pace wall a little bit? You think you're ready to look for that next step in your race pace?
I hope so, cause well, like I personally like with me, I don't have like very much time to practice. You know, I only get practice like the day of the race, so I'll try to get faster.
Yeah, you're doing a
get as slow as
fantastic
I
job.
can.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with what you're doing on track today. It brings you in a beautiful P1 finish. It was a great race. You fought hard. You earned it. You had great strategy on track, and I mean you got rewarded for it. So I mean you don't necessarily have to, but I know as sim racers we get to a point where we feel like we can be faster, and that's what we say when you hit that wall. You know, you're ready to make the next step, maybe gain 0.2 of a second on your pace, right? So we think you've got the ability to do it. So we can't wait to see when it happens. Needless to say.
Yeah.
We're gonna let Bo ask you
Yeah.
a few questions here too. I know Bo always has great things to say about all the drivers, so we'll let Boo take over here.
So, Tron, man, congratulations again. Fantastic win. It seemed like you were everywhere. You were in every single position. You were just battling through. Exactly
Oh, it was
what Tim
absolutely
said
amazing,
before. You
Bubba.
showing great consistency. The fact that you only practice a little bit before each race is testament to you and your ability. Do you think you're getting closer to the guys further up front? I know I've seen a great development in you since you've joined the league, so interested to know from your side how you feel you're developing as a sim racer.
Yeah, I think I'm getting up there with the rest of the guys. I was hoping to battle with some of the pro drivers up there, but they had a better strategy, so I couldn't catch up with them. So, but I believe I can get faster and become one of the pros.
Definitely, man. It's good to watch, and I'm loving to see the battles and the effort that you're putting in as well. So long may it continue. I don't really have much of a question other than say congratulations, bud. It's been a long time coming. I'm loving to see you reap the rewards of your own efforts and your own time that you put in.
All right, thank you.
And just great questions by Bo. We love having Boo here with us. The guy is just so
Okay,
well
here
spoken.
Tim's really quiet. He's like he's disappeared into
No,
another
yeah,
room.
my mic, it's all good. Moving things around and clicking buttons all over the place. I get all mixed up. Shout outs, Tron. Any shout outs for you?
Shout out to this community. You know, loud joint. I didn't know what to expect, but it's been a tough competition around here. Shout out to Happy Peppy for a good race today, and Throne and Type R too. He was pretty solid too. So it was a beautiful race all around.
Hey, cheers. That's some great shout outs and congratulations, man. Great P1 finish for you, and definitely take in the moment. And how you feeling for next round? How do you like the track coming up?
Um, th- yeah, the track. I gotta work on that, but hopefully I'll find my pace and keep up with the pole, the
Hey,
P1.
that's what we like to hear. There we go. There you go, pros. The AMs are coming. Better watch out.
Yep.
We love to hear it. Congratulations, man. Absolutely fantastic race for you. Glad to see you on top of the podium today. And I can't wait to see what you have for us next week in the GT3 series.
All right. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, so there we go. Our top three finishers in the amateur side of the race today. Great interviews, great questions. You can hear the excitement in the voice of the drivers. You can tell that there's so much respect towards the league from the drivers, just with the way they answer their questions, and of course just thanking them for their help. So that's what we love to see. We're seeing the family vibe over here at GTRC, and of course we're seeing the brother-sister mentality where we help each other out over here, and it's just producing some absolutely fantastic racing. So with that being said, we move over to our pro guys, and huge shout out to Mike. Mike was definitely in the battle for the podium positions today. He just made a miscalculation on that strategy, and he had to do a little bit of extra fuel saving at the end of the race, coming in a very close fourth place. So congratulations to Mike. But we're going to move to our third place guy, who was Hair Razor. A pretty exciting race, my guy, wasn't it?
You're not kidding, mate.
You guys up there in those top four positions were just having your own little battle, kind of in a league of your own there by yourselves, but there wasn't really ever a moment where I think either one of you ever really felt safe, was there?
Not at all, no. It was quite a battle, actually, to be honest with you, because I know that Doug's quite quick round here, and Doug knows that I'm quite quick round here. But I mean, we was having a battle for quite a lot of the laps, to be honest, and obviously when obviously two stop we knew that was faster, but when Ibra did a one stop and he pulled that off, I was like, wow, he was really good. He really did a good job there. But obviously towards the end it got a little bit tricky. Because I accidentally hit Mike on his rear quarter, so of course I waited up for Mike. But bless him, I think he would have done. He may have had third. He was a really good driver, and I'm glad he was up there.
And with that being said, just huge respect, fair play by you. We were actually watching when the incident happened, and he actually cut into your line a little bit. So the fact that you stopped and allowed him to keep that position is just fair play to you, my man. Huge respect to you for that, and massive props, because honestly, you really didn't need to get that position up in that particular incident, because he just came into your line, maybe not realizing you were right there. I'm not sure, but fair play, and you wanted it fair. And at the end of the day, his tires and of course fuel situation was really dire, and I think I don't think that he would have been able to hold that position either way anyways by the end of the race. So but fair play to you for that. With that being said, not taking anything away from Mike, man, he had a fantastic race. He had a great strategy, again, also doing the one-stop strategy, but by the end of the race, that front left tire, his was about 85-90% worn out, so he was definitely struggling on his rubber a little bit by the end there. Talk us through the rest of your race. I mean, there's a lot that was happening in that race. Can you even process it all at once right now?
Oh god, yeah, there was a lot. Obviously, I was trying to fuel save a little bit at the beginning behind Doug, because I thought if I can fuel save a little bit of fuel, obviously in the first 20 minutes.
Matt Hunsinger coming in with the huge sub over on YouTube. Much love, my man. We appreciate you.
And
Welcome
I did
over to the
manage
family.
I think it was about 3 seconds in front of Doug at one stage, and then he just closed me back up again. I don't know how, but I was ragging it. But he did. He managed to catch me up, and then we went back into the pits, and then he jumped me in the pits a little bit. But obviously I tried to stick with him, but for some reason I couldn't stick with him long enough. But it happens.
So would it surprise you if I told you Doug had the best looking tires at the end of that race?
It does surprise me for saying that he does a lot of about his tyres.
He did a phenomenal job this week, just saving those tires.
Yeah.
He really
did very well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, I know obviously as a driver chasing Doug, you know that he's obviously quick and he's good, he's clean, he's efficient, he knows how to run that car on the racetrack. But you also know, being a competitor when you're racing with Doug, that tire wear is a factor for him because he's on the pad. So that does sometimes play into a driver's strategy when you're chasing a driver like that. However, today it just it didn't work out for the drivers in the field, as he made a heck of a move going into that hard left-hander there and coming out in front of that. So hats off to Doug, but obviously hats off to you as well. You were a ways behind near the end of the race. You had that group sitting there tightening up in the top three. You were a couple seconds behind. What were you thinking? Were you just thinking, please, guys, battle, so I can catch up?
I was thinking battle. I could see that the time was running out, and I could see that Ibra and Mike were battling. And I just thought to myself, oh, please let me get, because I knew that two-stop was quicker. But like you say, the last few corners, it would have come down to that. And obviously Doug made it, but I just didn't quite have the pace there towards the end. But yeah, well done to Doug for that one. You did really well.
Absolutely, and I'm going to let Boo take over to give you a little Q&A here.
Thank you.
Congratulations, fantastic race, mate. Unlucky with the P3 at the end. It looks really, really tight at the front. Do you think the turning point was the second pit stop when you came out and you had that little bit more fuel than Doug? Did you even notice it, or?
I did notice I got more fuel than Doug. I knew I'd jump him in the pits for the first pit stop. But the second one, I was a bit not sure, to be honest, because I think we were both ragging it round on the second bit.
Yeah, I mean, you both pitted with like 1% difference between the two of you in the second pit stop, but Doug came out, he underfueled by 10% compared to yourself, so he went to 90%, whereas you went to 100. Do you think that was a difference in terms of pace towards the end? Because straight out of the pits, for the second stop, you were neck and neck, but then I don't know what happened, but he sort of seemed to have dropped you a little bit a few laps later.
Yeah, and I don't know how, but he did. He dropped me, and I thought to myself, how come I'm losing pace? Because I'm ragging this thing around the track, and but for some reason I must have had a few slides on more than normal on some of the bends, and it does slow you down that tenths or something like that, and so I think that's where I was losing it. But yeah, as I say, with him having less fuel probably helped him a little bit as well.
I think, but still, man, congratulations, fantastic race, good battle all the way towards the end. Just pointers for the next one, I guess, from here.
Yeah, I shall try and get him next time.
Good man.
Absolutely, and shout out to Razor.
Yeah, I'd like to say congratulations to the AM boys, because I think they've done remarkably well, and it's nice to see Pappy up there as well, and Throne and Trone. So yeah, it's good to see that the boys are there, and congratulations to Doug and Ibra as well, and to you commentators, and to all the fans.
Hey, absolutely, and appreciate you again. Congratulations on another podium finisher this week.
Cheers, buddy.
All right, so we will see Hairraiser next week in the GT3 series, so be looking for Hairraiser to respond back for this weekend's race over in the GT3 Championship, which we're, I believe, heading around 9 in now, so we're getting near the end of that one, too. But we're going to go talk to commentator's favorite, as everybody claims, Mr. Ibra.
Yes.
So,
Finally.
Great race. I mean, it wasn't too long ago that we were talking to you in a podium finish in the last GR4 series as well, so you're starting to find that pace with the Pro Division. You're starting to really chase down our typical suspects that we see up front here at the GTRC, so how are you feeling?
I mean, I'm just looking forward to every little thing, like every corner, every millisecond. I try to get better and better. I mean, practicing for the last 2 weeks I didn't practice very much, and it showed a bit, because I was a bit off the pace today compared to Doug and Razor. But yeah, my mentality is going have a practice with the boys, have a few races, and just get better and watch them, study them, in strategy and racecraft.
Yeah, absolutely, and I mean, your consistency is definitely already shows that you have good racecraft and good racing ability and skill as a sim racer, but with what you just said, that also allows you to pick up little things like maybe a braking point into a corner or a slightly different angle into a corner, and then when you go try that, that adds to a tenth of a second on that lap. So that's a good call out there, and it is a really good strategy for the drivers that are out there that are still learning or trying to figure out how to find more pace. Is exactly that. Study your competition, save your replays. You can watch every driver's race from their point of view on a saved replay here in GT7. It's a good learning tool. You can see how they're shifting. You can see entries into corners, how they're breaking around tougher corners that you might be struggling with. So it's really a good shout out by Ibra there. And of course, you have great racers around you here at the GTRC community as well. So it always helps when you have guys that have great racecraft and great pace to learn from as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So was the one-stop strategy the strategy going into the race right from the get-go?
Yeah, I was planning a one stop because I didn't want to lose time in the pits. I think like losing time in the pits is just too much, and I think this was the better strategy because on pure pace I was slower, but I was only 4 seconds. I finished 4 seconds behind Doug. So this strategy I think was superior.
Very much so. I mean, Doug really made a bold move going again into that really tight left-hand corner there nearing the end sector of the racetrack with about 6 minutes left of the race or so, and the fact that all three of you guys in the lead of the race made it through that corner, and you were the lucky driver who was the middle of that three-way sandwich. So what were you thinking when that was happening, when Doug decided, you know what, I'm going to pull this right now, I'm taking the lead?
I mean, Doug is gonna do what Doug does. He does the move. He's an aggressive driver. I know that. I was thinking like, just keep your line, keep it in the center. Don't first. My first thing in the mind, don't like push other players. Try to be clean and try to be a good sportsman.
Well,
other than that,
you guys most certainly were, because all three of you guys made it through that in the extremely tough corner, potentially the toughest corner on this racetrack today without the chicane being in. Three wide, you just don't see that. So hats off to all you guys for that. That was incredible.
Yeah, I was I was going like, what? The right here, right now, free wide, and I think I did well. I did well because Doug had the pace, and I had to move in front of Mike. Otherwise, I would lose too much time, and Razor would catch up to me really quickly. And I did a move there, and I stayed ahead for the rest.
Absolutely, and I mean, great race today, great consistency, great strategy, and a P2 finish. So we're seeing some bold strategies laid out by some of the drivers here in these last couple of championship series that we've been running here at the GTRC, and it's been paying off pretty good for the drivers. We're seeing podium finishes out of really big-time strategies. A one-stop on a two-stop race is a big-time strategy. It's no different than doing a no-stop on a one-stop race. It's a big strategy. It's high risk, high reward. And today the reward is P2, so I'm thrilled for you, as always. I love to see you have good race finishes just because you're such a good, consistent, clean race car driver. I just enjoy watching you race. And great finish for you. I'm gonna let Boo take over and ask you a couple questions as well.
Ibra, congratulations, buddy. And you called it before the race that you're going to return to the podium today, so you proved to be right, predicting the future. One thing I wanted to ask you, I mean, fantastic one-stop strategy, and I think you're right, that was the superior strategy, just by the fact that you made, what, 3 positions up in the race? The question I've got for you was, do you think you could have had first place if you weren't battling with Mike?
No, I don't think so. Because I wasn't exactly battling. Sometimes he got in the way. I was a bit quicker, but we were pretty much on the same pace. And I used his slipstream to save fuel. And maybe if I was the pace, if I had the pace similar to Doug, the same pace as Doug, I would have surely won. I think that. But Mike actually helped me a bit. in completing the strategy, and I was lucky because he was on the same strategy as well. So yeah,
Excellent. I mean, it showed great maturity to be to let somebody get in front of you and then just sit behind the slipstream. Like we saw it happening with Tim on the stream. So it showed great maturity. And the other thing, which you said you're enjoying every corner right now. You're showing um, development and growth as a sim racer. Do you feel that? Do you feel like you're catching the drivers in front now?
oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's not, it's incremental, like little by little. I gain like one tenth here, 100 in that corner. Just a bit by bit, I catch up. I mean, depends on their potential too. If they can, I think the guys up top can do better too. There's no such thing as I think they have, and they haven't reached their limit. I think so. If they get better, I'll try to get better also. But if I reach them on the same pace, I'll be very happy and maybe pass them.
Well, I don't think it's too far off, man. I mean, I remember when you first joined us and where you were to where you are now. It's a massive difference. So congratulations. I'm looking forward to the next rounds
Yeah,
with you
thank you.
both in the
Thanks.
MX-5s and GT3s. I hope the development and the exponential growth that you're showing continues.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I hope you're making Boo follow your taillights next week.
I hope
That's
so
gonna
too,
be
Tim. I hope
I
so
know
too.
you do. I genuinely believe you when you say that. But I mean it's just a great race for you. We know that you work hard. We know that you try hard, and I mean, striving for perfection wins championships. So you keep doing what you're doing, and hopefully one of these seasons we're handing you a big fat trophy or something.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
And of course,
Some
shout outs too when you're done with saying what you're saying. Sorry for the interruption.
Yeah, I think the grid could be. I mean, we could use more pros and Amza, of course, but I think I had a bit of luck too because of Razor and Bow's exit at the start of the race.
Yeah,
So
we don't.
it's not all yeah,
Yeah,
it's not all skill. You have to have a bit of luck too, I think.
absolutely, absolutely. Real life racing. You know, a guy could be the fastest guy on the track. He could be the overall leader. Nobody can touch him, and he could have an engine blow up, and everything changes for him after that. You know, it happens in real life too, right? So, um, it's unfortunate, but that's racing. It's part luck, part skill, and you know, Mother Nature plays a pretty big factor in racing too. So, you know, three big things that really do create chaos in a race, and that's why we can never predict who's going to win because we just never know. We just never know. But hopefully, we're seeing you on the top of that. You're actually ever so closer to the top stand on that podium. So I feel it coming soon, and maybe next week. You just never know.
Yeah, I mean either the car the I love this track is excellent, and I love the car too. So when both of these like come together, uh, I do pretty well and I enjoy it very much, and I like to race more here in the
Absolutely.
future.
Perfect. That's what we love to hear. We love seeing our drivers coming back for every series, obviously, and competing and giving it everything they got. And you're a fierce competitor, and I think these guys need to make sure that they keep their eyes on you because you're definitely going to be there fighting with them moving forward. So yeah, just huge props to you. We've been watching you develop, as Boo said. Over time here, and you're looking really, really good out there. So, whatever you're doing is working, and just keep at it, my friend.
Yeah, thanks, thank you.
And shout outs.
Shoutouts to the commentators, of course.
Appreciate it.
Shoutouts to all the guys here. I mean, and the idea with pros and amps, it was really good. Yeah, it means like we don't have to. The I know as a guy who was on the back of the grid sometimes that like you don't know what you're racing against, what you don't know what you're racing for, and it makes uh, a motivation for them to get ahead of others. not to be not to just be like a back marker or something. I think it's important for them for this to get motivation, and then they also get better because they motivated more. That's what I think.
Yeah,
Well said.
we couldn't agree more. We couldn't agree more. Absolutely, and again, just huge congratulations, Zebra, and we'll definitely see you next week for the GT3 series.
Yeah, the car, the car. Doug's said enough about the car, so
Yeah, it's okay. I
uh,
mean, you guys still do a pretty good job with it. So, just do what you do, and racing is racing, and you just never know what's going to happen at the end of the 60 minutes. So,
yeah, I know.
all right,
I'll try my best.
we know you will. Appreciate it, and again, just huge congratulations, Zebra.
Thanks. Thank you very much.
All right, and he's probably been sitting there jumping up and down waiting for his turn. So our winner in the pro division, guys, is Mr. Doug, and we're just playing. We love Doug. A fierce competitor on track week in and week out. No matter what car you throw this guy in, no matter what track you throw at this guy, he just seems to be able to find a way to master it over the field. So, man, huge race for you today. Big move with just a few minutes remaining in the race. Was that your intention when you were going into that corner to make that 3 wide, or did you expect that one of the guys was just going to back out and that was going to be a 2 wide battle?
I didn't know what was going to happen in that corner. I got the run out the corner before. We were 3 wide going into it. I held the curb on the inside. I thought, I'm not pushing out wide. I'm not going to try and run it. If they get the run out of me on the corner, they get the run on me on the corner. But it was after my pit stop. I really thought that was it. I thought I'd be going for third. Looking at the gap, it was like 14, 15 seconds of a gap. I managed to close it down. So no, yeah, it worked out well. It was it's good racing, as you know. I don't like to be behind people. So I went for a good move. It worked out over the space of 2 corners. It worked out, and then it was just keep going from there on in.
Absolutely, and I mean once you got that move done and you got out in front of those guys, there was pretty much no looking back. You just kind of slowly kept opening that gap as the time kept dripping down, and at that point it was a battle for second and third between the 3 drivers behind you. So. It's a stressful race, though, I'm sure. I mean, there was a lot of time there where you had to lead the race, but there was also a lot of time where you were fighting to get it back. So talk us through your race.
Going out off the start, I knew I was quick on the track. Me and Razor had a lot of practice together. He's driving a sister car this season, so it was good fun. I didn't push overly hard to start with. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't driving the Mazda to its max, because that would have just burnt so much fuel. So I think when I pitted in first time with Razor, I filled up to 100. He probably used about the same amount of fuel. And at one stint, in the first stint, I did think to myself, I'll sit behind Razor for a little bit, save some fuel. And I think I did it for about a lap, and then was like, oh, I can't take this. I can't do this. And I got back out in front. And then those 2 penalties I got in the second stint really did me in. So I thought, I'll just push, because I know I'm only going to use about 75 to 80% of my fuel if I just keep driving at the pace I was driving. But that wouldn't have been enough to close the gap. So I thought, I've got plenty of fuel for this stint to be able to push a little bit, close the gap on Razor. And then knew that I didn't need 90, I only needed about 80% of my fuel to finish the race. But I stuck it to 90 just to be safe, hoping that Razor would do another full tank, which he did. And that gave me the gap to just push. And from there on in, it was just watching the gap in front of me close down to the 2 guys in front, hoping they were battling. When I started to be able to see them, I could see that they were close, and I could see the gap between those 2 closing as well. So I was like, there's definitely going to be a battle soon. And I looked after my tyres. This car's got a habit of being quite twitchy. So I was taking a few areas just a little bit slower to get a better exit without the car sliding in and sliding out. So that's what my main thing on this race was, to just try and see if I can actually look after my tyres. In even cars, it's doable, but it's a lot. It involves a lot more concentration, because this car, if you stop concentrating, it likes to let go. So yeah, it's just control it.
And you did a very exceptional job at tire saving in this particular race. We were comparing you to other drivers that were on the same style strategy as you were, and your tire saving was better than all the other drivers on your strategy. So there's a little bit something for you to put in your mind bank and your racing information for moving forward. Obviously, into future races, because I know one of your biggest concerns being on pad is tire wear all the time. But today you did a really exceptional job. So just a little side note for you for your own personal information there.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
But I mean, at the end of the day, you had great pace. Boo predicted that you would be out on top in this race, but obviously when we realized that there was two drivers on a one-stop strategy and the rest of the field was on a two-stop strategy, we also did realize that you were in the potential to not win that race. But you just put your head down and you were like a bull in a china shop, and you found your way on the top of the spot. So massive congratulations, a great drive by you as always, and that move into that hairpin was just absolutely incredible by all three drivers. And I mean, that was it. That was the winning moment for you in the race. You made that move stick. And do you think if you would have came out in second or third place after that three-way debacle, do you think you would have been able to get ahead of those other two drivers?
I'd like to think I'd have got them into the tight left, 2-3 corners. No, 1, 2, 3, 5 corners later. I'd have sat behind, and then hopefully got them into the tight left, just before the end sector, or just before the end of the lap.
Yeah, so you
because I'm good into there.
You did have that backup plan just in case that didn't work out for you. Okay. I
wasn't gonna push too hard to. I wasn't gonna create any incidents or problems there. If Ibra had got out or Mike had got out slightly ahead of me out of that bend, then it would have been just wait for the next few, you know.
And I mean
everybody was reasonably quick through that sector, so it wouldn't have cost me too much time. I mean, that was a second and a bit slower that lap than what I was doing as average in that last sector. So in that last last stint of racing. So, you know, I felt I had the pace somewhere, especially with the fact that I had fairly new rubber compared to everybody else anyway. So that was my saving grace towards the end.
And absolutely, obviously having better rubber on your race car always is important when you're coming down to a final race battle, because, well, you should just have the pull on the driver on exit, and you should have better braking going into entries. So, but not always the case. You know, some drivers are really good defensive drivers, and they can make that car really, really wide if they need to sometimes as well. But I mean, just great job, and you know, I'm not shocked. Your skill just continues to show through week in and week out here, and I mean, this is why you're one of the drivers that these guys are constantly chasing for the championship titles, because you just show great pace and consistency, and as we talked to you, clearly you have a great race sense and can break things down and resituate very quickly as it happens in front of you as well. So just huge congratulations, man. Just another great race win for you, and I'm going to let Boo take over here.
Thank you.
Doug, well done, buddy. That was like the Doug of old. Just attack, aggressive. Me and Tim were talking about when Hare overtook you. We both said that's not going to last for long. He ain't going to be living there for too much long. He's going to do something about it. But really, really well executed race. Do you think your second pit stop? Because I noticed you came out, and I mentioned it to Hare. You came out with 10% less fuel than Hare. Was that a calculated thing? Did you work that out that that's the fuel you needed, or was that decision going, I just need to get out ahead and I'll sort everything else out later?
It was a calculated decision. I put more fuel in than I needed, and I knew I had. But I knew I didn't need to fill the tank up. So I thought, right, I'll stick it at 90. I've been using about 80, 85 for the other two stints. That way, if I have to run an extra lap time-wise, I've got enough fuel to cover the extra lap without having to stick in fuel save or really short shift. Because that last lap, if you've not got the fuel for it, can cost you the race. You know, so it was a calculated decision, and the hope that Ray's would need to put more fuel in. I somehow managed to keep good pace. And I think it was because I managed to control the back end of the car, but I managed to keep good pace without using too much fuel, without ragging it. So yeah, it was. I'd done practice on a one-stop, and although I probably could have pushed a little bit harder on a one-stop practice, I felt it was costing me just that little bit too much in the lap times. Not a massive amount. It was just the averages were a little bit lower than I would have liked them to be. And had it been a shorter pit entry, because it's like 20 odd seconds just to get to the pit box. I think it's like 22, 24 seconds before the wheels are off the ground. Had it been a shorter pit entry, I don't think it would have been as much of a concern when I came out after my second stop. But no, yeah, it was an intentional decision.
And do you think this is something that we're going to be seeing more from you? Because more strategy, not saying that you're not a strategic driver and you don't do strategy before, but in today's race, it really came through as one of your strong points. It wasn't so much that you were consistently doing faster laps than everybody else. It was the fact that you were thinking ahead of what you're going to do the next stint and what everybody else around you might be doing.
I like to think that I've got a strategy there anyway. But as has been said, I don't like to sit behind too much. When Razor overtook me, I broke early to let him go through because he had the inside. I'd been braking slightly later than him into that corner every lap beforehand. And I thought, I'll follow him for a little while, save some fuel. And that strategy fell out of the window after the very next lap. So my strategy is to just go, try and run my pace. I'm a good defensive driver as well. So it's one of those, try and hold my pace, try and keep the race going at the speed I want it to be going at. I was gutted about my 2 penalties that I got, but I understand why I got them. I did run a little bit. Car wasn't steering for me those couple of laps and picked up a couple of penalties. And, you know, as I saw the gap go into Razor, I thought to myself, I've got to close it a little bit. And I kept going, and he must have made a couple of mistakes or had a couple of big slides into things, and it allowed me to close it right up. And then it was get out, hopefully in front. Although I felt I had the pace to chase him down, get out hopefully in front and just control the pace from there. And for some reason, I don't know why, Razor couldn't keep the pace with me in the last stint, and I think that's what made it for me. Let me get the fastest lap. You know, just being able to be open and free for those laps till I caught up with the guys in front, which I wasn't sure I'd do, but I caught them.
No, man, congratulations. I mean, we were watching that, and it's one of the comments we made, which is 14 seconds behind with, I can't remember how long it was, 15 minutes to go, something like that.
17
Yeah.
minutes, yeah.
Yeah, no, fantastic pace,
about that and all.
No, mate, it was yours to lose today, and you did a fantastic job. So congratulations again.
Thank you.
And as always, my man, I mean, you know, you're one of the brainchilds behind what happens here at GTRC, along with Boo, and a few of the other drivers, Hair Razor as well, Bar 27. You know, you guys work really hard to get these events out and make these series really fun and great for the drivers. And I just want to give you guys some props, because this one here, this MX5 series with the tier divisions, whether or not it's separate divisions racing each other or two divisions on the same track racing together but separately, I think you're really locked into something here, and I think the drivers are really enjoying this. So I just want to give you guys some props here, because you guys found a way to give your community close, tight racing and confidence building throughout a championship series. So just want to give you guys some huge props for what you guys are doing over here, and I can't wait to see what happens moving forward in the future, because so far the response is fantastic.
Thank you very much. And if anybody's watching, like Unseen said, the more the merrier. We'll fit people in. Everybody's welcome. We'll find a place for everybody, and we'll help develop them if they want developing, or we'll just stick them in a group of like-minded and like-skilled people to enjoy themselves with. I know Doug and Hare probably want to say something, so I'll pass over to them as well.
And absolutely, and that's what it's all about. It's about family. It's about just being friends and helping each other. You know, sim racing is more than just playing a video game together. You know, we talk, we help each other in real life situations. I mean, you know, some guys go to the extent of legitimately helping another person from all the way on the other side of the world. You know, they can't make a rent payment because of something happened, so well, you know what, here, I'll just send you the money, mate, you pay me back when you can. You know, we see that stuff happening out of the sim racing community all the time, and it's not just like that. There's so many other things that we see come out, and you know, that's the vibe we get here at the GTRC. The drivers, just the way they comment about the staff and all the other drivers around them, it's a family vibe here. So it's a really great environment here at the GTRC community. Don't be scared, come be a part of it, because you're going to become part of something so much more than you think. And again, just keep doing what you guys are doing, man. The growth will show with what you guys are doing. You keep moving things in a great direction, and I just can't wait to see what you guys keep coming up with, because it's so much fun.
Cheers, guys.
All right, you guys are free. Speak freely. Great job.
I didn't get any shout outs.
Oh, Doug, shout outs.
Shout
Get your
outs.
shout outs. Do it, do it, do it.
I've got to do my shout outs
My
because
bad.
it's quite important for me, this bit.
My bad. Doug, your shout outs, my man.
Firstly, massive shout out to the AM drivers, to Trone, to Pappy, to Slick, as I like to call him, to Sonic. You know, fantastic work by them. And you know, without those guys trying and pushing, you know, it would be less of a fun race. So I think the fact that we've got the splits working really well, it gives everybody something to go for, and people seem to be enjoying it. To those people who are thinking about joining, this car is a laugh. Everybody loves this car. It's a proper laugh to drive. So yeah, and we drive all sorts. We'll drive everything and anything, us boys. So it's all good fun. Great community, boys. Everybody's a great community. You know, I was ashamed to see what happened to Bo at the beginning, and I know he's a bit upset. So hopefully I can talk him into it, because he's properly upset with what's going on at the moment. But we'll sort that out. You know, we're a community, we're a family, we'll help each other out. I'd like to be able to help some of the other drivers more than I get the opportunity to. You know, I've worked with Ibra, I've worked with Razor, I've worked with Trone a little bit, I've worked with Astro, I've worked with Simon, Pappy, almost anyone in the grid you could say I've worked with if I've had the opportunity. So, you know, I'd like to be able to get all the guys faster and keep working with people, helping people out. It's not so much fun when I make them faster than me, but other than that, you know,
it's gonna happen.
And, you know, shout out to all you guys as well, the guys. Shout out to the commentators, to everybody.
Well, I mean, it's a group effort. I mean, you know, these things don't happen with.
Wants to join us.
You know,
He's got a driving rig and he's 70 years old and he wants to join us.
No, I know he wants to join, and we had a little race with him the other day, and then he disappeared, and I haven't seen him since. So if we get to see him again, we'll sort something out. But yeah,
beautiful.
You know, he was a good lad.
That we have got community and people want to get involved. That's important.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, don't hesitate,
Definitely.
folks. All you gotta do is mention in the comments in one of the chats here that you want in, and we'll absolutely get you a way to get into the Discord communities and talk with these guys and really see what's going on over there. So don't hesitate.
I
If
mean,
you're on the
we've
fence,
got
jump over the
technically-
fence, man. Take the leap because it's worth it.
Yeah, technically we've got a full grid every race on here, but we don't for these MX-5s, and the fun people are having doing it, you know, but we don't seem to be managing to fill the grid, which is a shame, because the cars are, like I say, they're a proper laugh. But you know, more people are welcome. All they've got to do is come in. We'll do the little quali sessions that we did to figure out what sector they're going to be with a pro or AM, and they can join in. It's race 2 of a short season, I know. So if they're really quick, then you know there's not a lot of chance of them taking the lead of what they've got, because they're now 2 races down with 3 to go. But there's a good chance of, you know, being there and battling and having hopefully good, clean, fun racing, because that's what we try to do.
It's just about getting involved and getting a feel for it and see if you like it. Even maybe you only make 1 or 2 races. Maybe you decide it's not your type of thing, but you don't know unless you try. So definitely don't hesitate, folks. It's a great thing. Like I said, it doesn't matter what sim racing community you're a part of either. It doesn't have to be the GTRC or the GT45 Gaming. All the sim racing communities out there are much of the same, and at the end of the day, we're one big giant family. Become a part of it, because it really is something else. You will find yourself laughing for no reason. You'll find smiles on your face hanging out with the communities, and not even expecting that to happen to you that day. Maybe it changes your day because somebody just made you laugh that you completely unexpected to make you laugh, and that's what it's all about. You know, we look out for each other. We want to make sure everybody's okay, and we're here to support each other. So join on in today, folks. It's free to do.
Yes. Cheers, guys. Appreciate it. To everyone, thank you.
All right.
Thanks to Ghost and thanks Ghost and Bay for commentating.
Always,
Well done.
always. We love having Bo in the comment box. So it's always a pleasure to have him when he's not on track racing. So
It's a pleasure to have, even when this isn't going on. He's a good, fun lad. You know, he helps bring everybody up. You know, brilliant. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you do too, Tim. When you join us, guys, you do too, man.
Well,
You
we
do
try.
too, so it's all good.
We try.
Yeah.
But hey, I
Anyway, I'll let
appreciate you
get on,
guys.
mate. Thank you.
And we're gonna shut the stream down here, and then I'm gonna get ready for my race. So appreciate you guys. Great racing as always, and see y'all next week. Man.
Good luck to you all.
Cheers, guys.
Right.
All right, so there we have it, folks. Great interviews here today. I know they were super long, chat. Thanks for bearing with, man. But you know, when you got 2 divisions, you got 6 interviews, and yeah, we're gonna take the headphones off so I can actually focus on what I'm doing here. All right. But really great racing by these guys. You know, this is probably one of my favorite races in the last little while. Was this race? It was a really great race. Having these split divisions is fantastic. It's showing. You can see it in the push and the desire and the drive from the drivers. You could hear the happiness in our AM guys today hitting that podium, and I mean, Pappy was thrilled. He didn't even give a crap about that P2 finish. He was more happy that he finished 6th overall in the grid. That's a confident driver going into this next race. I mean, what else can we say? That's what it's all about. That is what it's all about. You know, great community here, and that's why we've opted to become a sponsor here for the GTRC, because of what I see happening behind the scenes, and also with what we show you guys on camera week in and week out. So I'm proud to be a part of this group. I'm proud to bring the GTRC family, into my community, and I'm glad that we're going to get to grow together as a larger group, a collective group. And I can't wait to see the racing that's going to come out of these guys over the next few weeks, months, years even. It's going to be incredible. So, you know, we got lots on the line here. We got lots happening. We got more multi-tier stuff that we are hoping that we are going to release in the future here after these championships are over. That's not 100% sure. You know, whatever these guys develop, we back up here at GT45 Gaming. It doesn't matter what it is. So you never know what these guys are going to throw up next for a series. It could be a sports car series. It could be a road car series. It could be just the most weird, bizarre car you've ever seen in your life. But no matter what these guys do, they're always out on track, and they always have fun, and they always make it look good. So, man, props to the GTRC community. If you haven't gone over to YouTube and followed the GTRC community over there yet, that would be fantastic, man. Just head over to YouTube, type in the GTRC, and the icon you see in the bottom right-hand side of the screen is what you're looking for on their YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button. Show them guys some love. Let's get that YouTube channel popping for these guys. That's what we're trying to do. Not only are we trying to provide prizes and awards for our drivers throughout moving forward with GTRC, we're also trying to provide growth and networking for these guys so they can continue to provide such great racing series moving forward in the future. So thanks for tuning in, man. Thank you for all the love, everybody on the YouTube channels and the Facebook channels, for all the likes, the shares, the new follows, the new subscribers on all channels. We appreciate all your support. We can't do it without the viewers. We can't do it without the race fans out there. We just can't do it without you. You're the heart and soul of what we do and why we do it, and we super appreciate everybody's support week in and week out. If you're new to the family, welcome. Don't be scared. Don't be a stranger. You need to talk. My door is always open. GTRC's door is always open. Just reach out. You'd be surprised who's willing to help. We love you guys. Stay winning, most importantly. And we'll see you next week for the GT3 Championship Series. And this one's winding down. We're on the chase to the championship here, so we're really going to start seeing some even more incredible action than we already see on track from our GT3 Series drivers. You're going to see some familiar names from this week's series in that series as well. And our amazing co-host Boo Fushidara today is going to be out of the box and in his race car trying to chase down his 2nd consecutive championship title in the big championship series here at the GTRC. He's missed 2 races. Can he do it? He's the man to beat on track right now. We'll have to see if he can bring that Porsche 911 RSR across to the top of the podium again next week. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Again, GTRC, this is presented by the GTRC community. We are live on the GT45 Gaming Facebook, YouTube, and the GTRC YouTube channel every single time that we broadcast for these guys. And GT45 Gaming is now the proud sponsor of the GTRC community as well. So we appreciate you not only as a sponsor, but also as a broadcaster. And can't wait to see you guys next week. Stay winning, stay strong, have fun, keep those lines clean, folks. We'll see you soon.